Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is Matthias with CoinRock, founder of CoinRock, with my co-founder here, Caius. He's also on. I can see the excitement in the chat groups. Let's get going here. This is gonna be a really fun one. Push a few retweets. Let's push a few retweets here. Okay. So, Justin should be joining any second now, and we're in completely two different parts of the world, so finding times is not always easy, but I think it's gonna be a very eye-opening episode for everyone here. So Justin has a very interesting story. Some of you know it, many of you know only parts of it, and it's going to be very interesting for everyone here today because I think he has a very interesting story that led him basically full circle from crypto to doing other things to crypto. And so we'll get going in a few minutes here. Welcome. If you're new here, you just joined, please share the post, share the tweet here. Let's get as many people as possible. And Justin should be joining in a few minutes. We will be going over. That's funny. Cryptic, are you from Turkey? That's funny. My Turkish crew here. This is live. Every asks, is this live? Yes, it is. Every with a purple and black PFP. It is live. We are live. This is not a restream. This is a real live stream. So yes, we are. Nice, Cryptic. Very cool. I'm good. So you can tell me things in Turkish and I will understand, and many other people won't. Actually, now with Chrome and all the translation tools, there was a time when you could, DM in groups and it was difficult for other people to understand, but not anymore. One thing that we have, it's funny, it's like a new trend over the last 12 to 18 months, is we have people interviewing to get a job at CoinRock. And so for those who don't know CoinRock, so I'm the founder of CoinRock, my co-founder here, Caius, who's on too. And so we have two arms, basically. One arm is the venture builder investor arm, so where we invest and incubate projects that we build from scratch in-house, everything in-house with full control over everything we do. That's CoinRock Ventures. And then we just announced actually CoinRock Media. This is episode 2 of the CoinRock Show. CoinRock Media, which is basically the distribution arm of CoinRock Ventures. And we're launching a full-blown news organization in the coming days. We've been working on it for a few weeks now. It's the platform is almost ready. And so we're super excited to share that with you. Maybe I'll talk about that for a few minutes. Are you really having Adana kebab now? I'm jealous. For those who don't know what Adana kebab is, please Google it. It's very good. So CoinRock Media. Also, the idea is the vision, the execution for us is to basically make CoinRock one of the biggest names and really being one of the top players in the crypto space. We started with the CoinRock venture about a year ago, and so we've executed extremely fast on all fronts. And the logical step for us is to also launch and control a media organization, because I come from the world of marketing, media, distribution, advertising, and so it's literally the two pieces of the puzzle, right? So manufacturing on the CoinRock Venture side, building Web3 businesses, Web3 projects, and then distribution on the CoinRock Media side. And yesterday we had an amazing episode with Lucas Demos, Blockchain Boy. If you haven't watched that, please go watch it. It was pretty amazing. And today with Justin. And Justin is backstage. Let's put some energy here in the box, in the chat. Drum roll for Justin. Justin, I can see you. Give me an okay if you're good to go, and we will add you. He is good to go. 3, 2, 1. And welcome, Justin.
Can you hear me?
We can hear, put a number 1 in the chat, please, everyone. If you can hear Justin, see and hear Justin, and we will get going here. Very cool. Drum roll. I can see drum roll emoji, so everything should be good. Video.
Just making sure our janky audio setup is functioning properly.
I think it's fine for me, at least. Everyone good on the audio side too? The
I've been
man
known
is
not to
black.
speak up.
Sorry, say again.
I said I've been known not to speak up into the mic sometimes, so y'all have to let me know.
The audio is good. It's all good for me, at least. And everyone, yeah, everyone saying it's good too. So welcome to Justin. I'm going to do a quick intro here for everyone because you don't get to see or talk to people often with the story that Justin has. And so I'll give two background stories. One is how we met, and two is Justin's story in a very short, just to set the stage, basically, because this is really about diving more into his story today, and basically sharing with the world who he is, who Default is. So Lucas and I met a year ago in the US. I was on a trip to New York, and I said, "Hey, if I can make it, let's meet in Orlando." So we met exactly, literally to the day a year ago. And I remember because on February 2nd or 3rd, I went to Universal Studios, and we met like a couple days before. So this is literally like a year ago, and we started working together, all things CoinRock. The first project being Cyclics. And at some point, Lucas came to Dubai. We met up in Dubai, and he was, connected with Justin. So Default. By the way, Justin is Default. Default is Justin. Just so
Yeah, it's
everyone
just
knows,
my handle, moniker, whatever you want to call it.
is Default. And so we would just talk occasionally, just because Lucas would be on a FaceTime call with him, and we just say hi and just
I think that's
talk
what
about
it was, a
things in crypto.
FaceTime. Was that the Dubai trip where it had like lots of flooding, or was that a different time?
Yes, that was last April. That was literally during Token 2049.
Yeah, I was supposed to be out
Yeah.
there for that, but
Yep.
just the weather was just insane.
Yep. So that's how we first connected. Justin also was a KOL for Cyclics from the very beginning. Is a KOL for Cyclics. So he doesn't do too much KOL stuff, but it's he followed Lucas, and so that's how we met. And so after that, so we stayed in touch, and around September, so a few months ago, 5 months ago, we had just launched the beta of the Cyclics Casino, and there was a situation where Lucas called me and he said, "Hey, Justin is working on this bot." And we had already talked about Justin's idea on the bot back in June, because CoinRock was also building a bot at the time, but we put that aside to focus on the casino. So we're very busy all summer building the casino, and then once we got the casino out in September, October, Lucas said, "Hey, what do you guys think of collaborating, basically assembling, joining forces all together? So CoinRock, Justin, and Lucas, to build what has now become JeetBot." And so over the last 3 months, we've been building every single day, 7 days a week, building JeetBot. It is in closed beta now, and we'll be opening that up in the next few days. That's a side note, but that's basically how we've been literally, working together for the last few months very closely. And I think that sets the stage well for the title here of today's show, which is and we can go right into it, which is Justin has an amazing story, a very very a story that very few people have in the world. He is a hacker. He went to federal prison for hacking, And so, before we actually started working together, I told you this, Justin, but I listened to a few podcasts that you were on. I think there's one main podcast which is called the Darknet Diaries, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting podcast. I've listened to it in the past too with other episodes, but I was like, okay, this is something that,
It's a huge honor. It's like a huge honor to get put on there. It's like, everyone has a really crazy story. Like you said,
Yep.
if you listen to some of the other ones, there's just always a bunch of crazy stories. So it was an honor for them to reach out to me and have a chance to tell my story, because I really don't shill it that much.
No, and that's why when I heard the story, I mean, I knew of Justin's story through Lucas, but just the 1 to 2 sentence recap, right, of his life story. So when I listened to that podcast, I was like, oh wow, this is something much bigger, and it's a story that deserves to be told. And so last week when I said, hey, we're lining up a bunch of like the initial shows for CoinRock, I think it ties in perfectly with JeetBot, and also of course with the personal story, because some people on crypto Twitter know about Justin's story and the background of that. Others just know that he was a hacker and went to jail. But the idea was really to, give him, an hour and a half, 2 hours to dive into his story. And with that being said, I think it's time to get going with the first questions, because I'm very curious myself to get into more of your past.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'd say the very first question is, if you had to, when's the first time you actually discovered or came across cryptocurrency?
An IRC channel, a hacking IRC channel. So like IRC is just like a messaging protocol and platform back in the day. If people don't know, it's where like a lot of people used to just hang out, back in the day, like AIM, Messenger, AOL. It's kind of all around the same time. And it's just like kind of like CT, bunch of anonymous people kind of hanging out with like niche similarities and interests. And it was like, hacking, obviously, but they were early on to like Bitcoin just from like their own connections. And I looked into it, read the white paper, and this was 2011. Bitcoin was like $7. There wasn't exchanges. There was no exchanges at all. None existed in the world. And you had to go on like IRC channels and use PGP. It was a very Wild West type thing. Actually, the first time I ever tried to buy Bitcoin, I got robbed, because it was like a green dot card. And he's like, give me the codes. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Here's the codes. And he's like, okay, block. And then just, but yeah, it's been a wild ride to see us come here. And we talk about it all the time. Like, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing to see like these people that run these institutions shilling our bags. It's like,
So Bitcoin is $7.
yeah, $7.
Did
man.
you what was your thought at the time? Was there any idea that Bitcoin would become what it has, or was it more of a dream? Like, how was it in those chat rooms?
It was very like anti-authoritarian. Like it was like the original like Bitcoin OG people. They may be kind of like annoying to people now, but like they're like the people that held it down. And back then it was never, I'm going to get rich. That was never a thing. That was like never a thing. It was just all like fundamental technologist people that were just like nerding out over this like ability to transact freely without the government really being able to be an intermediary. And so no, it was, maybe I think when it went to like 2000, I sold a lot. And I was like, this is crazy. No one ever saw this coming, like, except for maybe Satoshi, I guess. But yeah, no, it was a whole different vibe back then.
What were how was so there were no exchanges at the time. So how was the actual exchange happening?
So
I think for a lot of people, they can't even fathom a world without Coinbase or Binance or Bybit,
and I honestly think that there's still there's a place for what I'm about to say is like in the IRC channels is essentially it's kind of like a chat room that's kind of programmable, where you can add like a bot in there that kind of handles the PGP encryption. So that's how
It's
you
almost
like
like
verify.
like an old school Discords kind of
Yeah, essentially, like I kind
sort
of
of a
like. I think it should come back. I loved it. It was It just goes to show you that like we'll be fine even without exchanges. We were fine before them. It's not as easy, but you can transact. So like essentially, you had to go into it was on Freenode IRC, so like freenode.org, I think, and
yep.
the IRC channel was Bitcoin dash OTC. So it was OTC, which means over the counter. And there's different OTC markets across the world. It's usually for very small niche things. So you had to essentially it's peer to peer. Like you had to find a seller and you're a buyer, and usually there's kind of like an intermediary or an escrow system, which like later evolved, just kind of automates the process. It's super sketchy. It's like a drug deal. It was like an
Yep.
internet drug deal. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how you were categorized back then, because the only real use people knew was Silk Road. You know,
Yep.
so it was
We'll get
definitely
into
not
that.
like today, where it's like, oh, he's innovative. It's like back then, you're like, you're a criminal.
Yeah. So this was 2011, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into the hacking story in the sense. So your past as a hacker. When did you uh, get into that world? When did you actually start, hacking
Um,
purely?
I will say, like, I will preface it with the fact that I've noticed between not just hacking, but also like crypto, people that excel in these different fields, almost all of them have some kind of origin and background in like competitive gaming. It's weird. So like that's how I got my start. I used to play video games competitively. You know, I was young, and Halo, Call of Duty, Smash Bros, all the stuff. And you get in, you kind of foray into like modding, game cheats. It's like you're starting to go down the rabbit hole of like hacking essentially without even knowing it. And the internet is a wide, vast place with a lot of information, and before you know it, you can let your curiosity run wild one night, and you're like way over here. And the hacking stuff's interesting. I think to everybody, whether you understand it or not, initial reactions is like, this is cool, this is interesting. For me, I honestly used hacking my first time to get access back to Wi-Fi because I was grounded and I wanted to play video games. So I went to my friend's house. We looked up online and figured out how to hack Wi-Fi, and very easy. And that just kind of started it all.
Was that the very first quote hack? Was hacking Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
I think it was 2008, and I was in high school, and I think it was WEP encryption. So it's like I think it's just numbers. So it's like super easy. There's like tools to automate it. It does it in a second, and it kind of like opens your eyes to like what is possible. And like what do I don't what is out there? What kind of knowledge is out there that I'm not aware of? And yeah, just you become like kind of obsessed with it. It's uh it's extremely interesting, even still to today.
Were you still playing video games? So when did the video game phase kind of die down or go away? And when did
Almost
hacking really
immediately,
come in? Okay.
it kind of like they kind of replaced each other. Hyperfixation one for another. The thing about hacking is it's like it's infinitely complex. It just is never ending. A video game ends, you play the same game. This is hacking is more like a technological challenge. It's like a puzzle for most white hat hackers, people that have good intentions, as it were. And there's obviously other people that just have financial gain, but for the most part, there's a large majority of people that just enjoy solving puzzles, not necessarily breaking the law.
Can you just give a quick recap? White hat, gray hat, black hat,
Yeah,
for those who
so
don't know.
I would be considered like, or I was considered a black hat. Basically, black hat, you're breaking the law. White hat is essentially people that work at different, companies, corporations, and they work on defense. So They're the people that are doing good, but the grays, like the mix between the two. If we're being honest, like there's a little bit of both in each. People don't like to say it out loud, but like there's not many really good white hat hackers that haven't broke the law. You have to. You just don't have firsthand experience with how to defend if you don't know how to attack. So, and then there's all the different colors in between that no one really pays attention to.
Yep. So this is 2011, 2012.
Yeah, this is like right around like the anonymous thing started kicking off, and with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, it was a crazy time for sure.
What was your? I know there was a story about WikiLeaks too. Tell us about your involvement, close or far, with WikiLeaks.
So WikiLeaks was like a large portion of my case. Like we took these databases from FBI and CIA. It was like a joint collaborative database, and it's called JABS, Joint Agency Booking System is the acronym, and dropped the database with all of its information in it, and essentially handed that along with the CIA director John Brennan's his email contents, which included like his SF-86 form, which is what you use to apply for top secret clearance. A lot of really exposing information, like private information, and we leaked all that to WikiLeaks, and they in turn quickly put it up, and it aggressively pissed off the government.
I remember, over the last 25 years, I think there's very memorable moments, right? I think the first one for my generation was probably 9/11. I think everyone knows exactly where they were when they saw that on TV. I was playing tennis, and everyone was, at the clubhouse around the TV, maybe 50 people in a small tennis club. I was like, wow, what is this? And my first reaction was like, oh, is this a movie? I mean, it looked like a TV show or a movie. And then one of the other memorable moments I do remember was when WikiLeaks published the very first video, right? The one, the black and white, the one that everyone has seen or should see of the
It was
US,
like
the journalist getting gunned down by the chopper.
yeah.
That was the big one, right? So I was at the gym at the same tennis club, funny enough, and it was just all over the news. So
Yeah, it's they went on a run for like a long time until just recently, with a bunch of crazy stuff that happened with Julian. Just I'm glad that he's like still alive, because they had like there's several like attempts on his life and stuff. It's just also they did end up paying for like my attorneys, so it's cool that they held it down. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm not really sure how that organization is really running these days. Not really sure if they're really running like they used to.
do you think it was a factor of just other organizations being born, or is it more of a leadership? He
I
was
think that's
really
pressure. I think
yeah.
that's pressure on him. He stayed in the Ecuadorian embassy for like what, 10 years or something crazy.
I lived in London for 10 years. And
Yeah.
so his balcony was literally next to Harrods. So every time I'd go to Harrods, you see the window that we've all seen on TV. I mean, you can walk by the window. There was always a big police van, 2 to 5 cops outside, just waiting under the balcony. It's bizarre.
It's one thing I learned firsthand is just when you anger certain crowds of people, it's just you're gonna have the consequences pretty fast. So make sure you make good decisions, and if you don't, live with the consequences.
Yep. Why? So what did you pick up the default name persona? Where did that come from?
Really just like it just kind of stuck early on with, when you're getting into hacking, you're obviously doing like these really like low level script kiddie things. You're not going to find anything. It's just kind of like accomplishments, like little, okay, like a list of like, oh, I need to go shell this website. I need to go drop these SQL databases it's like a test. It's like you're learning, and, you're testing this out in real world environments, not a setup lab, because that's not, it's not applicable. And those things, I think I can't remember the exact exploit, but it was something to the tune of a lot of people start checking for like default passwords. So a lot of people don't change their passwords on hardware devices. So routers, firewalls, just miscellaneous things, even like their DVR, things like that they don't even know have access to the internet through other means than what they think it's used for. Just usually like ports that are open in the back for accessing. And if you could scan the internet for various different devices on different ports, and then you could just have a list of default logins. Like, they actually are in the manufacturing, like little PDF or whatever it comes with. So people have extracted those and put the list on the internet. Go download that. And I guess that's kind of where I first hit my first stride, or kind of like, I don't know, something clicked for me with that. And I think one of my, at the time, hacker friends said something like, you just alluded to me making a lot of progress. And I think I added like 2,000 or 3,000 bots in a day using default. It's not the same anymore. It was a lot easier back then. But yeah, just from like using default logins, it was just kind of like how I got my start, really. Because I got my start by hacking my parents' Wi-Fi, but that's not real. Once I started getting involved with groups and stuff like that, just
Yep.
you just have to have like a name, and that just kind of stuck.
So listening to the podcast and talking to you too, I think a lot of people, I think there's a lot of stories and operations that are actually very interesting to share here. So there's a few here I'll ask you about, because I think they're very interesting, and I think all of us have and this is something that, when people ask me now specifically about JeetBot. By the way, if you guys just joined, we have Justin here, who is former CIA hacker, turned crypto trader and founder. He's my partner at JeetBot. So we put the link. It's at JeetBots_AI. Follow Justin, follow JeetBot, follow
JeetBot.
me.
We're cooking. Y'all are gonna want to pay attention.
Yeah. There's a lot of noise coming out in the coming days for JeetBot. It is, we maybe a quick 30-second pitch here about JeetBot. So Justin was building his bot. We were building our bot independently, and then back in September, Lucas Demos, so Blockchain Boys, said, okay, why don't we join forces and partner up on this and build a much superior bot and execute on, a lot of Justin's vision from the trading side, because he really is he has become a trader. So we'll talk about that too. And so it has become JeetBot. The product is out. It's been in closed beta for a couple weeks now, and we will be opening that up in the coming days. So make sure you follow JeetBot, the Twitter account, join the community. One of the mods here, if you can put the link to the Telegram group, and we'll have more news about that.
Something that we're very excited for. Working very hard, Matthias and the team just put in crazy hours, and like he said, I think there's something very unique with what we're doing and the dynamic we have here. We have different founders that have all the different skill sets, but really we're coming at this, for one, as a docs team. But like, none of our competition, maybe like one or two, we don't even know who they are. And two, we're actually building things to fix liquidity issues, all kinds of different things with like scams, rugs, basically just trying to solve problems. And I don't really see a lot of people trying to actually solve problems. And that's what I think is making the difference. And I think it's going to make a huge difference at scale. Very excited to see that.
Yeah, so the vision really was to build a superior bot from day one. Like, the moment it's out, it's been out for 2 weeks, like I said, in closed beta. It is superior to 99% of the other bots that you guys, if you trade crypto on Telegram, you've tried several bots. This is superior as a V1 from launch day. We're very excited. And after that, we're working on a browser extension, Discord bot, and a full web app.
We're coming for everything, essentially. You know what I mean?
An entire ecosystem to trade. So we'll have a lot more about JeetBot. So like, follow, share everything that you see here on the post. Let's get into so coming back to this thing about when people ask me, oh, I saw Justin, he went to prison for something, he's a hacker. I'm like, yes, but have you actually listened and studied his past? Because I have. And so I think a lot of people just stop at the headlines. I think we live in a headline driven world, and they just stop and they don't go deeper. And so, for us on the building side, I was, I wanted to know who we could collab with. And so I think there's two stories really that, I mean, there's dozens of operations you've done, and now it's also in the public domain, so we can talk about it. And I'm sure there's things that you can't say, or which is fine too.
There's a few things that are still iffy, but there's a lot of things that I can talk about now that I'm off probation, because before I couldn't really speak about a lot of things.
There's a few, I think we're all hackers. We all have at least me, because I'm a bit older than Justin, but I grew up seeing those chat rooms, never being really involved, but I was in some of those chat rooms very early on. Never did anything because I chose to be more on the communication and marketing side. But I think we all have a slight kind of, us against them. I think it's ingrained in us. I think that's how revolution starts. I think from the dawn of humanity, we've all looked, to kind of change things, or at least that's my view, that we all have a predisposition to being a hacker in some way. And so one of which is student loans. And I think this is a conversation that I've had with many friends who are like, what about student loans? If only I could, and I want you to tell the story about that, because I think we've all felt that if only I could do that.
It's crazy because since that's happened, met people from all walks of life, and I've met a lot of people really recently that have a lot of even my brother, he just finished law school. He just went back. It's just hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debts that incur fees, penalties on top of fees and penalties. It's perpetual debt forever. It's kind of sick. So what he's alluding to is one of the hacks that we did, or mostly me, for this one at least specifically, was for Windsor University, and it wasn't targeted or anything. It was kind of we have things that we used to have things that would automatically, like I said, with the default passwords. Other times it's new exploits, and just kind of automatically hacking stuff on the internet and kind of coalescing it into a botnet, which you can use for mining Bitcoin or whatever you want to do, or use it as a proxy. But sometimes I go and check in these and what did we get? Sometimes I end up in someone's Apple TV, sometimes I end up in a Roku, and sometimes I end up in the Netherlands Defense Force, or an Iranian WiMAX base station. You never know where you're going to end up. It's exploring. And this one, I ended up inside of a university. And I mean, I didn't really think too much of it, because I've never done financial fraud, not even once. I don't believe in stealing from people. I think people are already getting beat up enough. We don't need to be PvPing. So when I kind of looked through it, I don't know if you could pull it up. I think that the tweet's still up. That's the thing that's funny, is on my Twitter, a lot of my tweets that I got indicted for are still there, because low key they won't let them get taken down because they're evidence. So, but it's kind of cool because you can look back and see I made that decision to just delete all of the record of all the student debt. It was in the admin control panel, from the I think they were sending out invoices. So technically, if I wanted to be a bad person, from the admin email, you could send out spam mail saying 50% off pay in Bitcoin right now. I'm pretty sure with the millions in debt, you'd probably get a couple million. But instead of that, I just deleted it all, because I mean, regardless of what kind of backups they have, if they're enforceable, if they're outdated, I was pretty confident that somebody is going to benefit financially from this. And at the end of the day, like you said, we're all human, and we all kind of like want to leave an impression on the world, or at least like leave the world a better place than you found it. And I have no problem. I had no problem deleting people's debt. I don't feel bad for the institutions, you know. But yeah, that was one of those things that's like, you know, it's illegal, but like I can still say that I'm proud of that one.
I don't know anyone. Yeah, I have friends in their 40s, early 50s who just paid off their student debt. When
That's
when you when
crazy.
when you owe three, four, $500,000, you know, and you have a good job, like an okay job, and you're saving 2 to 3, 5,000 a year. I mean, do the math. It's insane. So I think that story, when I heard it, I was like, okay, this is a very interesting take, right? Where you had a choice because you're on the back end, right?
Yeah.
You're inside. Do I take money? It's very easy to, especially back, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, a lot
Or I
of
could
these
have done nothing. I
institutions.
could have just left, you know, and just not
Yeah.
really done anything, but like whatever. But sometimes it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes you just feel like you have that opportunity to do this, and I know I won't get caught. It's like, why not? You know?
What's interesting too is a lot of these pretty big institutions, let's say small to um, mid-tier institutions, have very poor security systems while having a lot of
Yes.
responsibility on the servers.
Yes.
And you know, I remember reading. I don't know if you saw this. This was probably 3, 4 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I think 3, 4 years ago. Um, there was it's still ongoing, but a lot of you know, sophisticated hackers basically target low-level accounting firms
Yeah.
for small to medium businesses because the security is you know, non-existent, and so they have records of extremely, you know, detailed all the financial transactions of these small to medium businesses, and with that they can go out and send out exactly fake invoices,
Yeah.
change records that can literally destroy people's lives because they're hosted on, you know, subpar server behind a non-existent security. So it's not about hacking like the huge institutions like the CIA or the NSA. It's really more about, you can actually do a lot of damage accessing these small to mid-tier servers with no
Yeah.
security, and you
Yeah,
know,
it's
do
it's
bad things
a
if you want to.
security in general across all industries is just kind of like one of those things that's like lackluster. People don't take it serious until it's like after the fact. There, you know, it's very reactionary instead of like preventative, because it's like expensive and annoying. Security is in fact supposed to be annoying. You're supposed to annoy the hacker into like leaving, like not like you're no longer low hanging fruit,
Yeah,
or at least there's fruit underneath you. You want to like try to go up and like further away from the people that use password 123. You know, you just want
admin
to
one
make
two
it.
three.
Yeah, you just want to make it to the point where you're not unhackable, because that's not a thing. But you just want to make it so inconvenient that it's not worth their time, unless it's very targeted. Then, you know, that's a different case.
Yeah, the way I explain it is, close your house, lock your doors, you know, protect your house just so it's not, you know, so the accessing the house is tougher than moving on to the next house for
Yeah,
the burglar. It's as simple as that. Many of these hackers, you know, they're hacks of opportunity. If they see an opening, they'll go in, unless if it's targeted, like you said, and then, but also then you have a different level of sophistication on the hacker side. But for many of these guys, if you leave the door open, they'll go in, and you can actually protect a lot, minimize a lot. You know, there's no zero
yeah.
risk. Even you see major banks with hundreds of guys working 7 days a week on security being hacked, so there'll never be a zero risk scenario,
A
but
lot of the
at
times
least you
they
minimize.
know, at least a lot of the times they already know what their cost would be to replace their security systems versus the maximum amount of like legal liability. And
Liability.
if the numbers jive in their favor, they're not changing their security, and they don't care what happens or who gets hacked. They'll pay. They have
Yeah,
money set aside for that. So it's like, oh, they're getting hurt. It's like, no, they're making so much money that's like this
they know
little
the math.
coffer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it gets to the point now where it's like things are starting to get crazy with like AI and these automated AI agents, and you have quantum getting more and more rampant. It's getting to like a crescendo point. And, like you said, a lot of people don't do the bare minimum, especially in crypto. It's funny
Yep.
because it's more like of a financially incentivized market and industry, but yet it's so much easier to take the bare minimum. Just get a hardware wallet. You've literally cut out 99% of the threats. And
Yep.
most people will not do that. They will keep their net worth in a browser extension. Oh man, you can't make this up.
And something else, there's actually, I mean, you can find these like 10 steps to, you can ask ChatGPT, you can go to any forum and say, 10 ways to protect or minimize hacks, minimize, loss of crypto. And 8 of them you're not doing right now. So we're
Yeah.
not talking about installing insane amounts of, of security. It's just the bare minimum could save you even just from getting drained. I mean, we see this every single week in the communities that we have, with the different CoinRock
Yeah.
projects. Every single week, someone gets drained,
And I
and
personally think it's
it's
just going to get
heartbreaking.
worse. I think it's just going
Yeah.
to get way worse. If people remember about a year ago when like this bull was just really starting to take off, that first little leg up, we had some crazy fraud going on Twitter where like I think Twitter was in the midst of changing hands, and somehow these scammers were getting like business badges and emulating real crypto businesses, and then like commenting underneath like their airdrops and with the drainer link, and then they were actually able to promote these and getting millions and millions. Like God knows how much money they were stealing, or why Elon was letting this happen, but like that's probably in some shape or form going to happen again, and I'm really trying to like beg people to like, bro, get a hardware wallet. Like there's a couple browser extensions that like will verify the transaction's not going to like drain you. Very simple stuff, but people are just very lazy. But
Yep.
that's what you get at the end of the day. You can't blame anyone else but yourself.
Yep. Yep. So another story I think everyone would love to hear about is one that stuck with me when I listened to the Darknet Diaries is the Denmark operation.
Yeah.
And when I tell that story to people, they don't understand. They can't even fathom that it was the way it was. So let's talk about that one.
Yeah, that was like a really crazy one because I didn't even know that was a thing. Um, yeah, at that point I was like heavy in the hacking scene. Like I had jumped groups a couple of
What year
times.
was this, by the way?
2014, I think 2013, 2014, because I know that the year subsequently after laws were changed. So you're in a group of hackers, and literally like every day it's just kind of like you call it's kind of a cringe word now, but like social justice warriors. But like essentially that's what it is. You're trying to make change in the world through digital means, however that may be. And sometimes people bring different topics, things that maybe we should look into and see if we could do something about. And one of my friends that was in the group brought this and was like, oh, did you know in Denmark that like there's things called like dog brothels, and like bestiality is like legal. So it's like, oh, that's disgusting. And I had a dog, and so I'm impartial to that. I'm like, that's crazy. Like so we started looking into it, and it was like a big problem. Like it was like some weird sicko like tourist attraction for these people, and it's just not widely known. So some of the easiest and quickest ways hackers like to protest things is by hacking a big website that's like related usually, and doing something called defacing. So like the homepage, what you see when you go to Twitter or Facebook, whatever, removing that and then replacing it with your own, which would say whatever you want. Like ours was like, hey, by the way, did you know your government lets people do this to animals? Just thought you should know. And we did that to the government of Denmark's like home website. So tens of thousands of people saw it, and then it like went viral to the point where everyone else in the world was pissed. They didn't know either. They're like, what's going on over there? So external pressures from outside of their country, just because of a singular hack and a website defacement, then the next year they had to change the laws, and they made it bestiality effectively illegal in Denmark. So it's another one, like, you know, even though it was illegal to do that, I still feel like that's okay.
You can find the story on the BBC. April 22nd, 2015, Denmark passes law to ban bestiality.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Reuters, April 21st, Denmark bans bestiality and move against animal sex tourism. So it's such a wild story that I actually Googled it. We were on a road trip with my wife, and I was like, I need to find sources. And I'm like, yeah, Reuters.
You didn't know that
CBS
from being
News.
from like Europe and stuff?
I'm sorry?
I said you didn't know, like, that's what I'm curious. Like, from someone who like is from Europe, you'd never heard of that? So it's not like a well-known thing at all.
Every single person I've said it to, they were like, what? It's like, yes, Google it.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, insane. So yeah, and that, you know, Reddit threads until 2015, bestiality was legal in Denmark, and animal brothels were frequented by international sex tourists. Like you get into these rabbit holes, like, oh my god, I had no idea. This is nuts. And so yeah, they did change the laws.
It's some crazy stuff. Like, you can find a million different causes, and like, who's to say which one's better than what? But like, I think everyone can get behind this one. Like, low key, people's dogs going missing, and then people doing this to them. Like, am I you know, crazy for like hacking them and exposing this? I don't think so.
That's what I saw about, like, one of the stories, one of the articles was literally pets going missing.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, it's
like
I think that's
movie.
A crazy story. A horror movie, definitely horror movie. So moving on to so this is 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
You're moving on to like the serious stuff now, right? So you so pissing off the wrong institution. What made you want to, quote, escalate from doing this where you know there would be no real consequences, or at least not as severe, to really taking on, you know, major players in the U.S. government?
Primarily, like, just being disenfranchised with the world and the state of things, because I'd gotten away with thousands, tens of thousands of hacks, and like, you know, as long as you know what you're doing, for the most part, you're good, unless you mess with, like, it's like a golden rule. Like, you don't mess with the United States government, like, ever, like, never. Like, don't do that. They will come and get you. You know, if you mess with, you know, we've taken North Korea's internet offline for like a week for fun. We used to take like, you know, Xbox Live off, all these things. They don't care. Like, they care, but like, they're not going to send, you know, three-letter agencies after you for these things. These are like, you know, kind of smaller financial crimes, but more like hijinks. But when you start messing with them, and what we were doing was like really messing with them, and they didn't know what was going on. So really, this was all spurred from the Snowden leaks, when he exposed in 2014 that it wasn't a conspiracy theory, and that the government is in fact spying and listening to every single word that is said in the United States, and every single packet that transmits internally and externally is saved forever. And that pissed me off like a lot, because it's like incredibly unconstitutional. And also, I was just really disenfranchised with the lack of response from like normal people. They like didn't care. They're like, oh yeah, I guess it's not a conspiracy, but I don't care. I'm like, this has wide implications that you're not thinking about. So we decided to take it into our own hands. And I guess also you kind of felt like violated. Like, you didn't even know, like, oh God, they've been like watching me. Like, what else do they have that's personal? Like, you don't know, like, they probably have your private information, pictures, text, all this stuff. So we wanted to show them that like that can happen to them too. So you know, this is a reactionary universe, like equal and opposite reactions. Like, so now you're gonna have the same reaction happen to y'all, and they don't like that. they like doing it to everybody else, but their security is horrible. The way we got into like the CIA director's stuff initially was because we like, you know, he didn't have all of his data scrubbed from like public databases in the United States, which is like, you know, all these, this is where all this big money is with marketing. They want your data so they can like try to sell you stuff. But a lot of hackers target these databases that are like white pages. You could pay $15 and just like you'll be surprised the kind of information you can get on people there.
Background checks,
Yeah,
records.
it's not much. It's like $100 or whatever, and then like this is the dude who's running the CIA, and he hasn't. Okay, and then then we find out he's got an AOL email account. That's really crazy. That's just like that's like ironically crazy, and the contents of that AOL was illegal. It was actually illegal. Like Hillary Clinton was on trial for using a personal email account for federal use. It's the same thing that he did, but what are you going to do? Like, if he doesn't get prosecuted, he doesn't get prosecuted. So although we had like good intentions, maybe it was like a little bit more aggressive than it should have been, but still like we did report this stuff. We reported it, no answer. The government's not interested in fixing anything. You know, but if you expose that, well, now you're a criminal. So, you know, and they came down in a hard and quick way that I really don't think anyone wants to experience. It's very terrifying, the amount of power they have.
How much time between the operation up to the arrest? So how quickly did they move from, you know, them discovering it to the arrest?
I'd say a couple of weeks, maybe like a month, which is
yeah.
I think it's not because it took them that long to find us whatsoever. I think it's more have to do with like they coordinated because some of my co-defendants were in the United Kingdom, so they wanted to have a coordinated, you know, assault or like movement. So one party couldn't notify the other. So it's like, you know, I guess that takes a lot of coordinating across different countries to raid us all at the same time, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in LA between 2008 2010, and was very fortunate to meet, you know, like senior, you know, a couple SEAL guys, like guys who were, you know, special operations, and you know, and they have these amazing stories, right? Just like your own story. And the saying is very much like if the agencies want you, they will find you within a week or two. That's it. If they really want you, they will find you.
Even
and that
Snowden
there's
said that
nothing you
like
can do.
like the certain precautions that Snowden took to like get away with the information. He said that all you do is give yourself a head start, because people really can't comprehend. Even back then, which was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, we don't really know their capabilities now. But even back then, it was so widespread and vast-reaching and invasive that like the average human can't really comprehend what does that mean. It's like they know very much more about your life at a granular level than you probably are consciously on a day-to-day basis aware about yourself. And, you know, with AI and modeling, there's a bunch of crazy things that, you know, could be your data could be being misused for. But security wise, they just really don't take it serious, which is very strange. I'm not really sure why, other than just laziness.
Yeah, we talked about this last week on one of the calls with the team, right? With AI, like there's only we know nothing of what's going on in these, you know, very close, like black box government programs when it comes to surveillance, right? You only find out through leaks, whistleblowers, and even then, you know, there's a lot of misinformation, like conscious misinformation and disinformation from those agencies too.
Oh yeah.
What's interesting is like 10 years ago, we only know what we know usually a few years later, right? And it usually never hits the mainstream media just because everything is controlled again by governments. What's interesting is, you know, I always say about, you know, the example of the Minority Report movie, right? They will be able,
Such a good movie.
amazing movie. they either will be able to or are able to predict where you will be just by running your data that they can find openly on all the back doors they have on social media, everything you've ever emailed, read, received, scroll through. We
Yeah,
will get
that's.
to a place where they know where you will be.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know the extent, but I do have a contact that subcontracts to NSA, and he didn't confirm, but he just like nodded his head that when I threw a scenario towards him, like, is it possible, or is potentially it happening that all this data, because they're collecting data on everybody, and partial, basically, they just want to know everything about everyone in case you ever become a threat to them. Then they know everything about you that they ever need to. They don't need to do any research on you.
Yeah.
They have the file, but they can start doing interesting things, like after they start collecting certain amounts of data, certain types of data, they can start, essentially training models, and then they can start putting these together and training larger models of how these smaller models will interact, and essentially, like you said, to certain degrees, potentially how you respond to certain scenarios. So that's kind of like already
Yep.
going down the pathway of trying to have like future prediction, algorithms and stuff like that. So some crazy
Yep.
stuff going on right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're all creatures of habit, right? If you've lived a certain way for 40 years, you're not the likelihood of you waking up tomorrow and changing everything about you, everything, is
No.
very small, and they know it. And so if you're on the run, there's 3 to 5 scenarios or probabilities of you doing this or that, going to this place or that place. And with AI now, they will be able to minority report you in a way, where they can be waiting before you even think of, oh, this is my second option, but they're already waiting because they have these huge pools of data on you for decades.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these, um, I mean, not just in these certain cases I'm talking about, but like also, I want people to be like very careful and cautious with just like giving their data away. Like you just click in here and here, like that's like essentially how also your data ends up in these public databases, because it's just they get extracted. Like when you sign up for an account, all that information you've essentially agreed for them to sell that to somebody, and then it ends up in a database. But also like having to do with KYC and in crypto, if that is something that you're concerned about, you might want to be careful with like claiming some of these airdrops or whatever that basically want you to KYC, because in my opinion, it seems pretty obvious where things are heading. You see a lot more projects collecting Web2 details that they don't necessarily need, but these institutions want. They want to know their customers. They want to know who you are. They want to know how much money you have and what are you doing with it.
It's become so invasive. Some of the bigger centralized exchanges now have become unusable. The amount of information they ask for is literally unnecessary for them to process the request or process the withdrawal. We're not even talking about borrowing money, just accessing the money you gave them.
Yes.
It has become, over the last 6 to 12 months, for some of them,
It's so
pointless.
hostile. It's
Yes.
hostile. And like,
Yeah.
I think Jerome Powell just the other day said that banks can transact with cryptocurrencies, where it was like kind of gray area before. And I'm really hoping that it's ironic that now I'm saying this as someone who's like a OG Bitcoin maxi, that, the environment's different now, and we'll benefit more from regulation than we won't, because that'll stop a lot of this scamming, a lot of this
Yep.
rug pulling. It's extractive as hell, and it's just terrible. Like, this cycle is terrible. It may be the golden bull run, but it's not the
Yep.
golden bull run we wanted.
What's funny is we're at CoinRock, and with JeetBot, everything we're building, we're actually operating with the view that regulation will be a net positive for the industry. We're doxed. We're doing this in a very transparent way because that is the future. Whether we agree with it, Whether we agree with the initial values of cryptocurrency 10, 15 years ago, that's another story. But regulation is coming, it's here, and those who want to operate the right way will benefit. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people really understand the implications of that. Like, being doxxed and kind of like front running the meta, as it were, when we could have been wrong. And it's not like we're doing anything wrong. It's just there's no guidelines, so you don't
Yep.
know how to properly like follow rules when they're not telling you rules. So we front ran that and said we think they're going to give us rules, and I'm
Yep.
still very confident of that. And I think we have a huge opportunity here in America to really like bring innovation back. Like just in the past like month or two, I've seen more development in not just like crypto, but just, I mean, it's in crypto, but just in general, I haven't seen this kind of development in a long time, and I'm talking like every day. If you miss a day,
Yep.
you have to catch up.
100%. We're on literally 7 days a week. You guys know it because you see everything on the internally and on the back end. It's nonstop. It's an industry that moves so fast that if you stop moving for a few days, you've missed several key headlines. You've seen the competition move and add XYZ features. So there is no time in this space to stop and pause and take 3 months off. So, okay, with that being said, let's move on to, so we talked about, the so basically escalating, or let's see, expanding your hacking activities to targeting very senior people at the
Yeah.
CIA. Walk
It was
us
actually,
through. Yep.
that the list was, if we can go to the list, John Brennan, the CIA director, James Clapper, deputy or director of national intelligence, which essentially runs like kind of the NSA. He's like top dog next to the NSA, which also low key, both of them were like committing felonies, lying in front of Congress that like they don't spy on people. Like what? Like, come on, bro. Like, stop it. You're playing semantics here with words. You're spying on us.
I'm
So
looking at the list of names. Yep.
yeah, it's Amy Hess. She was like head of Quantico. I still owe her like $16,000 for like psychological damages. I played a movie on her TV, the movie Hackers from 1995, of
That's
course.
hilarious.
And she had like Comcast or whatever, so you could remotely play it. And I think I had the words like like "fuck the FBI" across it. And she's supposed to be training all the FBI agents. So you think she's like a tough broad? She's like, oh, so she has a $16,000 like bill from a therapist because of that. It is what it is. They're money grabbing me. I don't care. Just leave me alone. Let me be free, build, enjoy life.
We'll get into the building too. So the arrest, how does that, so walk us through the arrest, and then we'll take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll talk more into trading. This is a crazy story. For those who just joined, we have Justin, D3f4ult Trades here. Make sure you follow him, my account, CoinRock, and JeetBot. We're building JeetBot together. We're both co-founders of JeetBot, which is a trading ecosystem launching literally in a few days. And it's basically a mix of, so Justin's, and we'll get into his trading in the trenches experience and spending hours and hours a day for the last several years on that, and productizing his vision and the tools that he has used or has always wanted to build, and putting that into a product that everyone can use and trade, literally like an institution. So it's an institutional grade trading ecosystem that we're bringing to retail, and that's launching in a few days. So with that being said, walk us through the arrest.
The arrest was like, honestly, in retrospect, like very hilarious, because in that month time, a lot of weird things happened that I was just, I was on like full tilt. Like back then, I think, I don't know, it was like 21, 22. I was early to Bitcoin. So like, I hadn't like fully like cashed out, realized, but like because there wasn't exchanges. So like, and even when Coinbase or when Mt. Gox arose, like these places were so sketchy. Like you throw money into that exchange, it's like you kind of like expect like you might not get it back out. So like I had a couple million, and like that wasn't something that was like viable to just like send to Coinbase. Like, here, give me $3 million in USD to my bank account. No, you couldn't do that. So like, but at that age, when you have that kind of money, sometimes it can be a bad thing. Like if you're not like ready for that kind of stuff, all that does is like attract like the wrong kind of people. And then you're not going to really have like the self-control to like keep those people away from you, or, you know, really just do like the smart and right thing, like longevity wise with that kind of money. Because as you know, in crypto, we get very disillusioned with the value of money. You know, somewhat rightfully so, because of how insanely volatile crypto is. But like at the end of the day, this is life-changing money. Like 100 racks change somebody's life like easily. But yeah, this is it's something that this cycle's been probably like the craziest cycle that I could ever remember. I don't even think that this cycle is done getting crazy. And I think we
I
can like
agree.
go into that later, where I think what we might see, and like I'm pretty good at predicting like future trends and like cycles and stuff, and I have my, you know, thoughts. But like as I'm starting to see things develop, like the president just came out with a meme coin. Like that's like what this is insane. Like what does that lead credence to in terms of like the super cycle, transitory cycle that I really think this is? And I think we've been saying this a lot, but I think it needs to continually be like harped on, that like you need to like really take advantage of the opportunities this cycle, because I've been here 14 years and you'll never have this opportunity at this scale and at this
Never.
level ever again. Never.
Yep. Never.
Like ever again. I
This
want
is
y'all to
it.
understand, like never. It's not like, oh, next cycle you'll be sitting there with the dudes that are like Dusty trading the commoditized stocks on blockchain. You're not going to be like
Yep.
aping like 10K like micro shitters and getting
Next cycle, you'll have the same upside as the stock market if you're lucky.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's money to be made, but it's not like every day you see some person go from a one soul to $1 million overnight. Like that, I think is done for. Like, you know, somewhat rightfully so. It'll be easier, I think, because all the projects will be more vetted. So the likelihood of a rug just goes down so much more. But that also means that like the more secure an investment is, like the less the gains are, because more people are piling in. So you have that
The
trade-off.
lower the risk, the lower the reward.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and that's why we love crypto, because it's so risky.
You know, what's funny is if you actually talk people through the risk of, and you see these memes all the time, right? You see, you know, buying $50 of groceries, you know, oh, that's expensive, but putting $5,000 aped in a meme
Or it's
coin is
true.
normal, right?
It's actually it's deranged, but it's true.
Yeah, yeah. So coming back to the arrest, how was it? How did you
So
experience it? Explain it to
so
people
like
here who
the month
don't know.
the month prior, somebody, his family, it was like a mom and son or whatever, like agents, moved in across the street, and they never left the house. And all they did was sit on the porch and smoke cigarettes and look at my house. So it's like kind of obvious in retrospect. At first, I was like, "What's wrong with these people? Do they have work? How do they pay to like?" I don't know. It's weird. But I just like, after you've done it for so long, you get very disillusioned. You feel obviously like untouchable, and it doesn't ever really cross your mind that you're going to get in trouble. You know, even though that's not the case. That's exactly how you get caught, is by getting lazy and, you know, lackadaisical. But
Complacent on security.
yeah, so like, and then I guess fast forward like after a month of them just like creeping and me not really getting the picture, the day I came home, there was like a black SUV parked across the street, and I just also saw it, was like and just like went inside. The thing that's crazy about the whole thing is and that gets into like what was on the hard drive is they didn't like rush. They didn't do a typical thing. So on previous hacking cases, like Jeremy Hamed's and they didn't get in his, but like for like Ross Ulbricht, who just got out, is a friend of mine, DPR. His handle is the Dread Pirate Roberts. They actually did like some like little skit in the library where they caught him to make sure they got his laptop opened and unlocked and not encrypted because that's evidence. And this very similar situation happened to me where they didn't raid me like right when I got home. It was like 2 to 3 hours later, which is ironically like right when my hard drives were finished decrypting, because all my stuff's overkill like encrypted containers, like nothing's just like plain text. It's very, very, very annoying. But the likelihood of that happening, plus I'd gotten hacked like 2 to 3 nights prior. So I kind of like knew it was coming, almost like kind of resigned myself to it. You have to expect that they're coming for you. Like you're not just going to hang out inside of America and they're not going to find you. Like, but you're young, stupid, and got this bravado and ego. So yeah, they came in full force. It was what was it? The Secret Service, FBI, and then like some local stuff. It was very strange that the Secret Service was there because I think one of my co-defendants like hacked Trump's website or something. And they just low-key tried to interrogate me like a terrorist. They're like, you know about Trump's? I'm like, I honestly don't know anything about Trump's website. I don't care. But yeah, they were actually terrifying. Like the Secret Service guy, he was like some stereotypical cartoon character with like this chiseled like square jaw. The dude was just like so like jacked, but he was like old. Very strange. He definitely has killed people for sure. And then the FBI agent, like the lead agent who took me down, was the same guy who took Bernie Madoff down. And there's lore behind this too. It's crazy. BJ Kang. Guess who he went to work for after my case? Binance. Very hilarious how things start coalescing. And one of the drives that they had taken was also one of my my main hardware wallets for my Bitcoin, and that had 973 Bitcoin roughly, which is like $100 million now or something. It's
973 Bitcoin is today
painful.
Today, $100 million, $101 million.
Yeah, man. It's that's the one thing about crypto is like you just to make it, you just have to like never give up, even if you keep getting robbed. And just life in general, for sure. You should just have that tenacity, like doing competitive sports. You kind of can bring that into this, into the financial side of just never giving up, and that's kind of what it takes, at least in my experience.
So you said something interesting about the big black SUV that you see in the movies, weird people hanging out, watching you. You get this feeling, right?
Yeah.
Why you got the feeling? My question is, did you want, for lack of a better word, to get arrested? Did you want the process to stop? Could you have done something differently?
There's definitely a portion of that, like because I've definitely played the scenarios over and over and over in my head, and being very honest with myself, like definitely a portion of us, I think we all like intrinsically yearn, most people, for like fame, attention, whatever it is. And for like hackers, that's essentially getting verified, like your skills verified by the government expending the resources to come and arrest you. Because if there's no more verification, then the United States government actually taking the time to come arrest you, because especially at that level, it's not like your county sheriff. It's like, these guys came from Washington, D.C. and coordinated like an assault because
international assault.
Yeah, there was, I had co-defendants. We don't know each other. We're anonymous. Like I wasn't doxxed. They're not doxxed. People always trying to dox us. From different countries trying to I guess they're trying to coordinate the assault to take us down. But there's a lot of other people out there that killers, murderers, cult leaders that they have to go after that they're diverting resources from. So it's you got to be kind of important or a priority, because at the time, I think there was what is it called? An output, a blog or whatever, a newsletter. They put out a newsletter because we were targeting all of the top officials of the intelligence community. We literally sat around and we're who should we go after next? So they didn't know we were a group called Crackers with Attitude, CWA. It was a joke. And they didn't know if it was some kind of actual real nation state thing or a terrorist thing. They didn't know it was a bunch of kids, 16 to 23-year-olds, just deciding to smoke weed and hack the government. They probably weren't really factoring that in. So they had to treat it as such, because the security level or the security threat at the time was unknown. So they had to move them to secure locations. And when I start reading this in the discovery, I'm holy shit. I'm this guy's family just got moved to a secure location and stuff. You start feeling kind of bad because the auxiliary fallout, but at the end of the day, you also realize these people kill people for a living, in the CIA. It's what they do, kind of. So you don't feel too bad, but just you definitely want to make some changes. If you look back at some of that stuff, I wouldn't have minded keeping that 973 Bitcoin. That could have been useful. Maybe, I don't know. We could have put it to use on something.
So I want to take a quick break. And after that, I want to finish this part of the arrest and then talk about the Silk Road, because that's a whole, especially it ties really well with, Ross Ulbricht's.
Yeah, thank God he's out, man. That's
story.
crazy.
And then get more into how federal prison was, trading and all that. So let's take a quick, let's say 3 to 5 minute break, and we will be back. In the meantime, welcome everyone. Please share, like, and share the session here, the stream. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll get more into really with I hear the word, I'm a Bitcoin OG, I'm a crypto OG. I'm I actually work with a real crypto OG. So unless you come up with the story and the real past that Justin has, please don't call yourself a Bitcoin OG. Justin really is a true OG. We'll be back in a few moments.
No, we'll bring that up when we get back. Let's we have a JeetBot commercial.
Of course, we're moving that. Lucas is coming. Lucas is dressing up now, just moving it to shill JeetBot here. All right, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes here. Hey, Matthias here, and if you're enjoying this and want access to even more alpha, early stage deals and opportunities, and also behind the scenes insights on the markets, hit the link in the description and make sure you're subscribed. It's free and it puts you ahead of the curve. Let's get back to the show. All right, we are back. Type in the number 3 if you can hear us, and I'm gonna add, see Justin's back too. And here we go. Type in number 3. Everything should be good. Justin, I can see and hear you too. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yep, all good. All right, so quick intro, re-intro for those who are just joining. One with Justin, D3f4ult Trades, who is there's an amazing story. It's even difficult to summarize it in a sentence, but long story short, from CIA hacker to going to federal prison to crypto trader to crypto founder, and we're actually business partners in a venture called actually not even a project. This is a product called JeetBot. So follow JeetBot. It is a trading ecosystem that we launched 2 weeks ago. It's in closed beta. We're opening it up in a few days, and a huge airdrop and referral program launching next week. And this is really a combination, like a partnership of the minds here between, Justin being a real trader in the trenches, and CoinRock on the building side, with Lucas on the marketing side. And that's pretty much the 30-second summary. So let's go back into Justin just talked about how it was basically being arrested by the FBI, the Secret Service, having pretty much a movie like living in a real movie, basically, with these big SUVs across the street, and law enforcement coming up, taking everything. So how was it? So they did they break the door down? Did they knock? How'd they go?
They definitely don't knock. They kicked the door down. They like threw a flashbang or whatever. I was in the back of the house, so like it didn't really affect me, but like I heard it, and then I remember very distinctly hearing FBI search warrant, and that just like sent shivers down my spine. Just like my whole it didn't seem real. It seemed like it was kind of like, what? Wait, what? Here? And then you just hear like the commotion, and you're like, your heart's racing. You're like, oh, this is real. This is happening. And it just happens very fast. Like that short little span of time. I know I kind of like blacked out in the end because they had like MP5s pointed in my face. And I think they were around that time, like there was a bunch of like Trayvon Martin and like all these like police shootings and incidents, like, it's kind of like a tense thing. And I think when they eventually like opened the door to the back room to get me, or I opened it, I had like a TV remote in my hand, and I was just kind of like, I didn't want to like move, I didn't want to drop it, I didn't want to like do anything. But I remember very specifically as I'm like being rushed down the hallway, like right to the right is my bedroom and my office with my desktop, which auto re-encrypts like the actual like file container that the entire like hard drive is in if I unplug it. So all I had to do, like they had literally no evidence on me, none. All the evidence they had was for me, my dumbass, like collecting it all for them. I actually recorded myself like phone bombing, where you just like send a bunch of like calls towards someone's number to the FBI deputy director. I recorded myself, like screen recorded, because I thought it'd be like funny to watch later. And they were just like, this idiot, low key, just like put himself on a platter. But like I couldn't reach for it. I was like frozen. And at that point in time, I knew what they had. They didn't know what they had. I knew it was over. I was just like trying to calculate years in my head. It's super overwhelming, but yeah, it happens fast and it's very aggressive, and it could have gone probably another way. I think that could have happened, and I don't think that many people would have said too much of anything if they're like, oh, this CIA hacker, he like looked like he had a gun. What is everybody else going to say? So it's definitely something that it took a little bit to get over, because like the trauma, whatever, but it's something that you'll never forget.
Yep. So you get arrested, you kind of black out. Where did they take you?
Oh, they take me to whatever the federal place was in North Carolina of my district, was like Greenville or something like that. Um, Initial, I don't remember what it's called, like the hearing or whatever. I bond out, and just at that point trying to like assess life, because I never really thought I'd be in that situation, because now it's like I didn't know anything about the legal system. I've never followed laws my whole life, just because of my beliefs of like just like freedom of everything, obviously not impeding on other people, but just generally speaking, it didn't have any real bearings on the legalities of like, what am I looking at here? Because also they can lie to your face. It's like they can legally lie to you. So obviously they were telling me I was going to get 30 years, which no. Things could have maybe gone that way. The thing with like the hacking laws is it's very antiquated. It's all the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of like 1984 or 5 or whatever. Super old. Like it's they still talk about like dial-up and stuff in that. So they're using these really draconian laws to like sentence us. And I got maxed out at 5 years, 60 months, which ironically, the statutes of limitations in sentencing, it usually is not in your favor ever. But luckily for me, it was, because based on these 3 counts of conspiracy, I could only get a maximum of 60 months. But my judge literally told me he wanted to give me 10 years. So that was terrifying.
What did the lawyer, how did your defense work, in the sense that what was the first thing that your lawyer said to prep you to, debrief?
So I had I learned a lot about the legal judicial system through this process, and it wasn't like things that I was very happy to learn. That essentially, at certain levels of inside the judicial system, when you're like dealing with stuff like this, having to do with high-ranking officials and intelligence communities, some stuff just really doesn't apply to you. Like literally, it just doesn't matter. I had 3 of the best cyber defense attorneys in the world, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He already knew what he was going to say to me. You can't be a federal judge in DC, Alexandria, whatever, for 30 years without having some kind of first or secondary connection to any of those people that we messed with, and it's like my dad was in the DoD. He was Department of Defense. And I mean, he told me years later, after he chilled out about the whole incident, that, it's like, like teams. It's like they feel like you violated their team members. So like they're going to impose stuff on you, kind of like what they did to Ross, but just what they did to him was like 1,000 times worse. But essentially the same thing. They make an example to deter other people. I mean, my attorneys, even the prosecutor, asked for 36 months, and the judge almost always just lets the prosecutor discount. Yeah, it's like he was like, no, I'm giving him 60 months, and I think he called me like an arrogant little man. It was wild. I was like, damn, this dude's like dissing me and shit. This guy's definitely got a conflict of interest. And he, yeah, man, like that's 5 years, still a lot of time, of course. But at the scheme of things, when you go into prison, it's a very controversial thing to say, but like I personally still will always continue saying it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's like boot camp. Obviously, it's very dangerous. It's like Spartan boot camp or something like that, if you want to put it in a nice way. It just depends on what you want to do with your time. And I didn't waste any of my time. And, it gives you perspective on life that I don't think that most people get anywhere else. People are just like ungrateful, always like never enjoying the moment, not appreciating their family. These are like core things in life that kind of need for happiness. And you can get kind of stuck down the trenches and chasing money, and you forget what's important. So it kind of like jarred me back into reality of being like, look, dude, like that's not normal. Your family loves you, all this good stuff that came from such a terrible experience.
What did you do with your time? You said, it depends on what you do. What did you do?
So one of the huge things that I did was, I wasn't illiterate or anything when I was like in high school and my short stint in college. I just didn't really enjoy reading as much as I did enjoy the challenge of cheating, like the subverting, the guidelines or whatever. It's a test. The energy I put into cheating could have easily been spent reading or studying. So when I went to prison, I think I'd read like a handful of books. I read like over 1,000 books in that 5 years, which I didn't really foresee how beneficial that is. Like, cognitively, it helps you become more centered, I guess. I don't think a lot of people really ever read these days.
Mm,
I haven't even read anything in a book since I got out, because it's just, the medium of information is so much faster. But so I read a bunch. I took classes. I tried to learn like different language, like Spanish and stuff. Worked out 5 days a week. A very basic, like mundane, boring lifestyle, but like healthy, essentially.
mm.
Just because you just have so
What
much excess time.
what books? What are the top 3 books, favorite books you read that come to mind?
So my number one favorite book of all time is Shantaram, and it's a very weird book. It's about like this Australian guy who goes to jail in India, and his whole
Mm,
life and everything. And it's just like, I read this while I was in solitary confinement. I was in solitary confinement for like a year, and it was like the hardest thing I ever did. And reading that book in there, like low key, just like saved me, made the experience a lot more palatable, because it could always be worse, no matter how shitty
mm.
it is. Like literally, once I was reading this book, I was just like reading about Indian prisons. I was like, oh my God. While I'm like in a US prison, it sucks, but like in an Indian prison, bro. Our toilets, we have normal toilets, not holes in the ground and like not lice infested beds. So Shantaram by Robert Gregory something. Very, very, very good book. Probably one of the most quotable books I've ever read. And then ironically, I like read some like screenplay stuff. Like I started dabbling in like
Mm.
writing screenplays just for fun. Um, it's something that it sounds weird, but I miss, is like having that excess free time to just like dabble in
Yep.
new side, little hobbies that I got to do in there.
I find that reading physical books is very soothing for me. I feel like it's almost an escape from all the electronic and
Yes.
the
It like
information.
slows down, like everything just like
Yeah,
slows down, and
yeah,
it's more like an even rhythm instead of just like so
yeah,
high frequency. But it feels like everything's moving so fast that you never really have time to
yeah,
like do that, even though you should.
yeah. You know what's funny is I know you're a bit younger than me, but my generation, we grew up without computers, right? Initially, right?
Yeah,
Without the internet, with computers, but you had to connect through dial up and everything. It
yeah,
was very expensive, even just to like check your email. But the concept of having an email was also new. It's like
yeah,
it's something that the generation born after the 2000s, they were born in a world that changed, like literally the tech infrastructure changed. Was
yeah,
so I grew up in this world of physical books, no computers. You watch TV maybe once a week, um, and then your biggest gift as a child is getting the N64, the PS1, and you play it,
yeah,
when you're done with homework. And then now it's the opposite, right? Kids grow up watching their iPad shows every night at the dinner table. So it's this kind of mix of the amount of information our brains get, and we're not wired that way. Like we're literally biologically not wired for the amount of information. So reading
yeah.
physical books is like soothing to me.
Yeah, I think there's I read some study about, I don't know if it was the reading or like the physical writing, it affects your memory differently
Yep.
than
Yep.
just reading it on a screen. I don't know why, it's the medium or something, but like yeah, I'm sure I can tell. I could tell a big difference, like in my cognitive capacity as I started to read. It's like I didn't learn anything, but it's just like training of a muscle,
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And
And
I
you read
think,
faster, you get the information faster and better too, the more you read.
yeah, and it's like, the quality of information that you consume, I think just like anything, like your surrounding plays a part in like who you are essentially for the most
Yep.
part. And I could confidently say a lot of the content we consume on a daily basis is just dog shit. It's just
Yep.
like not
Yeah.
a
It's
book or
brain rot,
anything.
the
Yeah,
majority
it's
now on social.
essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So Shantaram, I just Googled it here. They actually made a TV show. Pretty good
Yeah, I don't.
reviews. So
I always feel like I don't want to watch something that might ruin the experience for me.
especially if you've read it. I haven't read it,
Yeah, you'd be
but
one
the
of those
TV
hipster guys
show
that's
is
like the
out.
book is better. It's like, but it
Always like that. It's
is.
always like that. Yeah. Any other books that's like really stand out?
Kind of like quantum mechanics type stuff, like
Hmm.
stuff like Brian Greene. I was into this stuff like A Brief History in Time, Stephen Hawking.
Yep.
Actually, I think one of my third favorite, if I could say, is called Free Radicals. It's just
Hmm.
basically like talking about all like the different different like scientific people throughout time and like their breakthroughs, but how not normal they were and
Hmm.
how a lot of people thought certain ways about them. It's just kind of like flipping the status quo on its head and showing that like a lot of innovation came from like people that were ostracized from society and had just a unique viewpoint. That's a really
Yep.
good book.
So, solitary confinement, how did that happen and why?
When you're in prison, there's always like it's like a how can I say this? It reminds me of like uh, a project or something in crypto or a meme that like everyone thinks is going to go and they're going to like get 1,000x on, but you never do. And it's like the same in prison with, oh, I heard that they're getting out because of this bill that was passed. So everyone goes to like submit their claim to the
Hmm.
court to try to get out. Like Obama was letting a lot of people out from like the crack laws and stuff. With this, it was COVID. Like if it was proven roughly that you're not in like a safe place, for COVID, and like if you have asthma, like I do, I was shooting my shot. I was trying to get out. So
Hmm.
I had a phone, like a cell phone in prison, really shitty, like Android. It's like $50 cell phone from Walmart, but like $2,500 in prison. And so I like recorded and I sent it to one of my friends who is a reporter over at CNN and just tried to like amplify it, and it got amplified, and they came and got me the next morning and were pissed. Oh, they're pissed. The warden was there. Uh, Someone told on me instantaneously, of course, in prison, and like bro, they get away with so much stuff that's wild, but it's illegal essentially what they did to us. Like in prison in solitary, you're at least supposed to have 1 hour a day out of your cell for humane reasons. But
So
during
this was
COVID,
punishment.
yeah, no, this is punishment, but like
Hmm.
you usually in solitary you get like 90 days or whatever. Like there's
Yep.
limits. A year straight, over a year straight. And they just got away with it because it was COVID.
Yep.
They weren't shipping people anywhere, and they weren't letting me back on the compound. So I just stayed back there for an unknown amount of time, and oh god, you'll find out how strong you are. And a lot of people I think are a lot stronger than they realize until it comes down to it. It's like make or
Was
break.
it 23 and 1 or did you do days like
I did
with
24/7. I never got out.
in?
Um,
Wow.
it was for over a year. Like honestly, like a lot of people like killed themselves back there, like hung
Yeah,
themselves
I
because
remember
it's
reading. I remember reading about that during COVID because I was in
uh,
London. It was stuck, but then you had those. I remember those stories specifically about prisons in the UK
yeah,
too, just
yeah.
people
You
killing
you
themselves.
you
Yeah.
you have to like be mentally strong, and if you aren't, you have to get mentally strong quick because I've seen like huge. It doesn't matter your size, like huge dudes like crying like little babies back there just because it's like psychological torture. Like you're just back there with you and your thoughts, and you only get
Yep.
like one book a week. Like
Wow.
that's not a lot.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
watched documentaries about the effects on the brain, like literally like they run these experiments on solitary confinement and they scan the brain and like your brain literally functions differently, um, and self destructs
bro.
in a solitary
I
situation.
went
Yeah.
blind in my left eye for one day
Mm.
because as a human, you like we're supposed to see certain distances and colors
Yep.
and all this stuff. I'm seeing like 8 feet in front of me, straight reflective white back in my eyes for
Yep.
weeks, months. And I woke up one morning and I couldn't see, like my left eye was like all blurry, the sight was. So they had to like actually take me to a real hospital. And
Mm.
it was like a swollen nerve behind my eye, but it was very scary. The kind of implications, like you said, with being in those inhumane conditions, it's not just
Yep.
like your body's not made for that.
No, 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 no. Um, how is violence in prison? Did you see like how prevalent is it?
It's very violent, bro. Very, very, very violent. At all levels, except for like the security levels. Like there's camps, which is essentially like what it sounds like. It sounds like it's like a summer camp where there's no fence around it. And a lot of people, with very small crimes go there, and they like leave during the day. They sneak off to go do whatever, go be with their woman, whatever. Yeah, so like I wasn't even allowed to go to those. My security level never let me go there for whatever reason. They determined I was a threat. So I started out like in a medium, which is very violent, so violent. That's where people who have like 30 years, 20 to 30 years usually and up, or there's ranges for like points and then years. I can't remember exactly, but I started at a medium and I shouldn't have been there for my crime really. But like it's a point system, whatever your points are, it doesn't really matter, whatever your crime was. So I'm like in there bunking with like murderers and stuff, dude. I'm like literally sleeping like next to like some guy who killed a family, and I'm like, I just like hacked something on the internet. Now I'm in here, so it's very violent. But I will say, it's crazy, but like it taught me really like hardcore how to be like a respectful like grown man towards around other grown men in a very hostile situation. I've probably said excuse me more times in my entire life in those 5 years. Just you don't want to accidentally disrespect somebody because you're essentially surrounded by psychopaths because they don't have like what are they called? The wards, the psych wards. No, they send those people to prison now. So you have to be. I think my social engineering abilities like probably saved my life. The ability to ingratiate myself with people from all walks of life and essentially like kind of mirror back some of like, the way they speak or anything, mannerisms, beliefs to, kind of just not getting good with them, but just like blend in. I think that's very important in prison because if you stand out, it's a jungle. It's an animal jungle. Like people literally will just take everything you have. They'll stab you. Like it's actually like a really high tense, like always tense. Like you always are on guard. You're never relaxed ever. And yeah, I've seen violence. I've had to do violence. It's not a pretty thing, It's survival actually, because a lot of people don't come out of there. A lot of people don't come out of there. It doesn't take much, man. A lot of these people don't care about their lives. You can't assume logic like, oh, he won't stab me. He'll get 10 more years. He's going to stab you, bro. Like, don't mess with these people. Just focus on yourself. Try to make the best of the time and get out and, just be grateful and like, make the best of your life.
Yep. Did you stay in touch with people from prison after you left? Like, how's the post-prison
There's a few
process on your end?
Extremely selective on that aspect. But I will say that the few that I have, they're like my best friends, some of my best friends, because there's no facade in prison. Or if there is, the facade doesn't last long. So you get to like see like what people are made of. Like, are you going to have my back if something goes down? And that kind of stuff you don't really get to see in society because people don't get put to those extremes. They can kind of avoid it and pretend. But, the people that really like, you get to see like, oh, this guy's really my friend. He really doesn't have anything to benefit from this. If anything, he should be running away because this guy is getting involved with a fight that, just has to do with me. So a couple people, the majority, oh God, no. Oh God. They hit me up sometimes and I don't read it because, you could tell a lot of people are kind of probably going to go back towards doing crime. And I just don't want anything to do with that.
Yep. So before that, let's talk about Silk Road. That's personally how I found out about Bitcoin. I talked about this yesterday on the episode with Lucas. In 2008, 2009, when I was in LA, a friend of mine was going to these meetup events. I remember going. There was a group. It might actually still exist. It was called Metal, and it was
Metal.
It was run by. It was one of the first get-togethers. It was Saturday morning, Marina Del Rey, 20 to 50 tech entrepreneurs, business guys, and you had these very senior VCs coming in, but just like a very cool environment. Where it was basically technology. It were huge like old Silicon Valley founders coming in, and it was basically a like a 2-hour talk, and then just hang out, and have breakfast. And that's that Bitcoin was mentioned to me the first time at one of those it was a very niche event, invite only. And so I faded like many. And then the Silk Road. So I was building a company, a software actually in Eastern Europe, in Estonia, 2013. And that's when the whole what is it, Pirate Roberts persona came out online. I was pitched funny enough, one of my, at the time, senior devs, who's now a very good friend, a Brazilian developer, an entrepreneur now. He was lead dev on the project, and he basically said, hey, we need to buy Bitcoin, and also we should mine Bitcoin. And he put together this whole PowerPoint presentation for me. And he was like, hey, can I present this to you? So he put together this pitch, and he was like, hey, we should buy Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin. I'll set up all the rigs and everything. And I was like, you didn't even need rigs at the time. You could mine it with computers, laptops. So, and I was like, no, this is not going to work. Long story short, that was around the time that the whole Silk Road story was going mainstream. So walk us through your experience during that whole time and Silk Road.
Yeah, Silk Road was humongous. Like a lot of people
maybe
just
tell
really
people
don't
what
know.
Silk Road is, because some of them don't
This
know
was
here.
Silk Road was like, I would say, the first, or like the most widely known initial founders, or at least like type of dark market website. So these run on Tor nodes, Tor browser. It's a type of encryption and protocol. So like, you can anonymously think of it like a VPN sort of, without getting too specific, for a way to access these specific types of sites, which are only with the Tor routing protocol. It's called onion routing, and it's like .onion instead of .com. So it's dark market websites where you can buy and sell anything, like anything. Initially, that's what it was. Obviously, people got a little crazy with it, and they had to like start getting rid of like guns and stuff. But like, I remember very, very distinctly when I first found out about it, and then got on the website. I was like, this is so crazy. Like, just like the awe factor of just like looking on a website that looked like Amazon, and it's just filled with
It's
like
like
drugs.
an eBay for drugs and illegal stuff, basically.
I actually have
I
it's
remember.
funny. I have
That's the first
pictures
time I downloaded
on,
Tor. First time.
trying to see if I could share. I could share my background, can't I?
I don't know. Let me have a look. You
Because
might be able
I
to.
just found like one of my old phones where I have pictures from the Silk Road, which like I haven't even posted. They're actually really funny. Virtual
Post them in
background.
the post them in the. Let me have a look here. We can do this.
Oh, here we go. Picture. There it is. I think I can just set it, instead of green screen, I can just set it to this.
Okay. Yep.
This is gonna be a funny looking background. Can you see it?
Yes. Oh, there you go. With a
So like
camel. Yes. That is a
this is like
Silk Road.
actually
Yep.
like my old account. One of my old accounts. It's like backwards, but this was like 9K, and the amount of Bitcoin that was in there at that time was like this is another place that I lost a lot of Bitcoin on. Let me see which one. And you can like go back and look at the actual transactions of stuff that I was like buying that now is like worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why are these all backwards? But yeah, it's funny. I've been finding a bunch of old stuff from back in the day that, okay, here's one right here. So this was, I think when Bitcoin was like $100 or something, and I spent 2.75 Bitcoin on like a weed pen, which is insane. But back then it was like, I don't know, like $80 to $100. And there's a Silk Road right here. I think it was the green guy or whatever my name was. But yeah, you can see the Silk Road, yada, yada, a bunch of random characters, .onion. And this was incredibly pivotal for Bitcoin. This is what made it like the shot that heard around the world, as it were. That's the thing that gets people like, people don't care. Oh, Bitcoin, whatever. Oh, I can buy weed. Oh, like, you know, that's what got people excited. And it's like speed ran like the adoption of Bitcoin, probably, who knows how many years. So like Ross, like people should be very thankful if their livelihood depends on crypto whatsoever. They very much so indebted to him. Maybe if you don't agree with it, whatever, you still owe the dude a gratitude of thanks for pushing the industry forward.
Yep. I mean, I think everyone should read about Ross Ulbricht's story. I know that the let's call it the new crypto generation doesn't know even who Ross is. I think everyone should. There's a lot of documentaries and books about the story. Just Google the Silk Road. You can read through the Wikipedia page. It's required reading material if you're in crypto. And he actually just got freed. What was it, 2 weeks ago, I believe? Pardoned.
Yeah, Trump came through, man. Like, for real. It still blows my mind. I haven't even reached out to him because he's with his family, his wife, all this stuff. Like, you need time to like really. It's different. Like, I can't even imagine, because I had an out date. I was guaranteed. Like,
yes, talk about that. Like, there was no end date for him.
Yeah, dude. The dude got 2 lifetimes and plus 40 years. That's just like, what does that even mean? Like, what, he can die twice if it still has 40 years? It's just like, they didn't want him to
the only country in the world that sentences you to multiple lifetimes.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just so much overkill, and everyone knows it. And they attributed all of the volume of the sales that went through the website as his like your victim's restitution. Is like, how much people did you cause financial crimes and damages to? That's a huge determining factor in your points. That's why most people like Bernie Madoff get life, because after like $1 billion in damages, your points are like. So they hit him with like that, essentially. I think like over a couple $2 billion in volume back then, which was like insane. So much Bitcoin went through the site, and I'm not sure what he still has access to. I know he got robbed a bunch also, but yeah, it was just a very, very exciting time in crypto that I don't think you can really replicate. And I did have some hijinks with like eventually meeting DPR just because of my security background. Obviously, I poked around on the server, not for any like real purpose or anything, just like, it's what I do. Curious, like, let's see if this guy's security is good. Found some stuff, and instead of doing anything malicious, I reported it. They were like very responsive and very thankful, because if it was anyone else, probably would have just stole. There was other people that were stealing Bitcoin, but like, I actually believed in it. I was like, dude, what you're doing is amazing. Whether you believe in drugs or whatever, I believe in a free market economy where like humans and people should be able to transact between one another in a safe and fair manner that they are both okay with. Who cares if a third party is not okay with it? It's like, 2 people can transact how they want. And like, he did show the world that, and it's something that can never really be put back in a bottle, or like, it's one of those things that's going back.
I think what's interesting with with his arrest is how dirty the whole operation was to get him. There's a bunch of really good interviews and podcasts with some whistleblowers who were on the the team that hunted him down, and it was an extremely messy operation to find him. A lot of the actual agents going after him ended up doing their own very, very shady things during the actual process of finding him. So there's really good podcasts with actually whistleblowers who came out over the years and just said, hey, this is the way this was done was wrong. And yes, of course, he was he was a target, but also the evidence was the story that was sold to the public is not the way things went down on the back. So it's definitely interesting. If you're interested in this, you should all there's a bunch of Spotify podcasts and YouTube podcasts too about that. So it's you owe it to
I might have to.
if
I
you
might have to switch my headphones real quick. I think these ones are dying. It's
yeah
like you're like chopping out a whole bunch.
yeah
And I'm like
and
very
anyone in
technically
crypto should
proficient.
study Ross Ulbricht, Silk Road, just so you know the history too, especially if you're on the younger side. It's you can brag to your friends, hey, do you know what Silk Road is? I think it's definitely part of crypto Bitcoin history. One of probably the biggest story that brought Bitcoin to the mainstream, and of course it had several ingredients that make up for a great mainstream story, right? Bitcoin, of course, crypto, this kind of you know gray asset to buy illegal things online, but not on the main web, not on the websites that you go to, but through Tor, and
Is
then
that
of course a
is
lot
that
of
good? Is there any like feedback?
no audio is
Okay,
good.
cool. Just making sure because
Yeah, audio is good.
it's coming out through like the TV. I just didn't want the
Yeah,
microphone to be picking it up.
no, good. So yes, a lot of other stuff too. A lot of threats. I mean, it's a crazy story. It really is a crazy story. I hope they come out with a real TV show. If they do actually, there's been a few attempts of like making a movie. I was in LA actually, and it's one of those like, oh, they've been trying to make a movie. There was a very very mediocre movie made, like
Yeah,
a
I
straight to
think I know
DVD
what you're talking
release.
about.
Sorry.
I said I think I know which one you're talking about. They did a couple
Yeah.
like pseudo docu series, but like
Yeah.
it's the same thing like with my case. Like
It
probably
doesn't do it
also
justice to the story.
yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
like I'm sure there's tons of stuff that happened, whether he can speak about it or not.
Yeah.
Same thing with my case. Like my case has never really been fully told. Like all these
Yeah.
journalists and stuff try to speculate, and just like no one's like really told the story fully from the inside. Mostly because like a lot of my co-defendants, they want nothing to do with this. They just want to go about their own lives, and I'm like, I want to turn a negative into a positive and try to like highlight certain things that can be used like beneficially to like highlight about security, personal security, and then like also like holding your constituents accountable for like their actions and like the stuff that they say. That'd be pretty nice. So yeah, there's no one just really told the whole story. There's some weird things I might have to navigate with like legally what I can and can't say, but there'll definitely will be a docu series or a Netflix series or something eventually.
Yep. Yep. So what day did you actually leave prison?
I think it was August 25th, 2021. Yeah,
Okay.
I think or 2022. Something like that, yes.
So trading, you get into trading, right? How
Yeah.
did that happen?
So I was like trading when I was locked up. Obviously, it's very intermittent. In prison, you're not allowed. It's not permissible to have cell phones, but like it's a whole different economy in there, and supply and demand always finds a way. So you have access to cell phones if you can pay for them, and it's trading on them. I knew some of like actually I met and some of my like my mentors are from prison. Like literally, I met a whole bunch of people that worked on Wall Street, some people that worked with like Jordan Belfort, all kinds it's crazy. You start getting
I
to
know
like
a
a
few
web,
of
and
those.
then
Yeah,
it's like
that's
he knows him. Next thing you know, it's like you start
very
knowing all
very different prison experience than you, by the way.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And I just I was all into crypto, and some of these guys, like, they watch CNBC like every morning. It's like their little thing. They're down there taking their notes, whatever, or they're just watching the news. And I like to hang out with the older crowd, because the young kids, they're like trying to do crazy shit, and like the older guys are chill, and there's a lot to learn from them. Like a lot of people aren't really looking at it like that. Like, I love meeting like older people, especially like the older they are, the more like kind of like unique information they probably have. And so one of them like kind of like took me under his wing, and he kept trying to like get me to get into like stock, like options trading. And I was like, man, I just do crypto. Like that stock market stuff is a scam. And he was like, I'll never forget. He told me this, and it's just like it rang true. And immediately I was like, damn, that was powerful. He said, it's all a scam. It's all a scam. None of it's real. None of this is real. He's like, just choose your scam, play the numbers, and make your money. And who cares? Wherever there's opportunity in the market, you want to get to the point as a trader where you don't care what the asset class is. I've gotten to that point, but it's taken tens of thousands of hours. I don't think people understand what tens of thousands of hours of work means. It means ungodly amounts of time, to the point where it's like, it's muscle memory. It is. It's literally muscle memory. And it's why a lot of people just are not good at trading.
Yeah. So for those who are just joining, welcome. We're on with D3f4ult Trades, aka Justin. I'm Matthias, and we are business partners, co-founders of JeetBot's trading ecosystem that launched a couple weeks ago. It's in closed beta and launching openly to the public next week. So make sure to follow Justin here. He's tagged on the Twitter post. Follow JeetBot, and this is basically this is the second CoinRock show. Yesterday we had Lucas Demos, blockchain boy, who's also a partner at JeetBot, and our fourth partner called Caius, who's
he's sleeping in the other room right now.
Lucas he's been on for 40 hours. He literally DM'd me before the show. He's like, I can't be on. I have to sleep. I've been on for 40 hours.
Just go to bed.
So follow all these accounts. I wanted to bring Justin on as episode 2 just because we're business partners, building JeetBot and really bringing what we're going to be diving into now, which is trading, and really the hours and the years of being in the trenches and coming up with these ideas for tools and suffering and technology, bottling all his genius and technology into a tool, a product suite inside JeetBot to make it easy for you to trade and make more money. And the trading bot is called JeetBot, and that's a full trading ecosystem launching next week. So I'll have a lot of news for that too. So make sure to follow the accounts to be kept in the loop. And also, for those who want to join the Telegram group, there's going to be a lot of early bird access info to get your referral links and make passive income, because we have the most generous affiliate referral program in the industry, and it is literally one of the best bots in the industry from day one.
Yeah,
That's the 30-second pitch.
We're putting everything into this, and like you said, it's not just like some dusty like normal bot. Like anytime I've had a good idea, it's always came out of necessity. So it's like it never had any intention of like, oh, let me sit down and think of a product to sell people. No, it's like, I'm trading. These are the problems that I'm facing. How do we solve these? And then if we solve them, well, other people probably want to use these too. So there's like already demand. And that's like, that's organically how like good products come about, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And so this partnership came about because, Justin has a list of all these different features and things that he uses or that he wants to build and he wanted to build and bring to the market. And so at CoinRock, I mean, we are a venture builder incubator fund, meaning we incubate and invest in what we build. We build everything in house. That's really the USB and so the unique selling proposition. In a way, we're not looking for new partnerships. We have a lot of, like, our list of other projects we could go into is very long, but this one was, a no-brainer to collab on this, because taking someone who's actually a real trader, and this is how I really sell JeetBot, is Justin is a real trader. He's not a KOL, and we've worked with 200 KOLs plus, so a key opinion leader and influencer who say they're a trader because they post 2 charts, but they're not trading. They make money just promoting, which is fine. Justin is a real trader, and so taking his thinking about the market, his tools, the tools he wanted to make available to the market, and productizing them into JeetBot and building that.
Yeah. And this is something that's like it's going to be ever evolving, as it's like a tit for tat thing. It's like, oh, the scammers are doing something. We figure out a way to like identify them and help you avoid buying their shit. They iterate and change. So, and also throughout, the cycle and time in general, users will have great ideas, and like, we're not above listening. And like, if it's good, we'll implement it. I don't know anyone else or any other trading bot ecosystem, first of all, that you even know who created it. Second of all, gives a shit what you have to say about what fucking features they should build. We are, because in my opinion, that's the smartest thing to do in a business. You just like ask your customer what they want. Like, what do you want? And if enough people say a certain thing, we build it, and then y'all are happy. It's just like, plus, like you said, all this stuff about like the airdrop farming and like, the referrals. We're just trying to really make the best product that we can, because I was just dissatisfied with the competition.
The great thing about Justin too is he's used all the main bots. He's used them. He knows the ins and outs. He knows everything about them.
A lot of them are dusty, bro. A lot of them are literally nothing.
Yeah. So for us, it was, okay, let's build the best bot we can. But the bot is that's just the first step. After that, we have the Discord. So the Discord bot, and then we have a browser extension, and then so it's a full ecosystem, because probably by end of Q1 here, we'll be launching also the web app. At the latest end of Q1, we're already building it. So it's like you'll be able to trade everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah,
and we'll be adding a bunch of more features.
That's the goal. Like, we're trying to solve problems, and we're trying to bring it to every chain and put it on every platform and every device, that like, you don't really have an excuse not to use us, and I know, like, even for myself, I'm not a big fan of like the Telegram interface, but like, that's like, it's just this stepping stone. Some people like it. It's just a nice, easy way for people to like, get involved. And then as we go to browser, maybe certain people get early access, whatever that may be. And that's where like the fun begins, because you're no longer limited by the Telegram interface, and we can just do whatever.
Yep. So if you guys have, for those who are on here with over 1,000 viewers here, for those who, if you have an audience, an existing audience, if you have a Telegram group, a channel, a Discord group, a trading community, reach out to either Justin or me or Lucas Demos if you're in touch with him, and we can get you on for the referral. And so there's going to be
definitely hit us up. We look out for early adopters, people who have like communities. This is really, it'll become obvious in time that like, you don't have an option. Like, all roads lead to us, because we're the only ones building shit. So like, if you want to use the newest and most innovative different types of ways to like sell, take profit, avoid scams, rugs, you're probably going to want to use our product, and you'll like it. And it's a win-win scenario, and there's not many products or projects where that really ever arises, where like, the buyer, the seller, and the project all benefit from whatever the attributes or features are of the product. So it's some cutting edge shit.
Yeah. So reach out to us quickly, just because we're launching the referral program next week. It's a 6 layer deep, 6-level deep referral program. So, you're going to be making passive income literally just by sharing your referral link. If you already have an existing community, we can definitely get you on. Or if you want to, you vibe and you resonate with what we've been talking about for 2 hours now, reach out. We can get you on. And, we love building. We love building. I've been building businesses full time since 2007. I started making money in the early 2000s. So my specialty is building businesses and real companies in Web 1 and Web 2. Now in Web 3, so we know our shit. We know how to build, and so now this kind of association of brains at JeetBot with Justin, Lucas, Kaya, so my partner who's really more on the operations in the back end, and myself. We want to make JeetBot the #1 trading ecosystem, starting with a Telegram bot. So again, reach out, DM either myself on Twitter here, shoot me a DM, or Justin, of course, Lucas, and then we'll talk about getting you on for the referral program. It opens next week. As you know, the first ones to move quickly on a new referral program maximize their gains. So this is it. We're here.
Yeah, some people last cycle made ungodly amounts passively. It's kind of disgusting. Me and Lucas were talking about this today. I think Carl Moon was making like $1 million a day, something last cycle off referrals.
Yes. There's more I can say about other names that you've all seen, but you can read my face.
Yeah.
So, I was having lunch actually the other day with someone who knows all those numbers from last cycle. It's multiple millions a day net for the biggest affiliates from last cycle.
Crazy.
Multiple millions net, not in volume, net.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People tend to like brush off like any kind of referral stuff because most of it's dusty. Most of it is, and it's not really ever coming at it from the perspective of like reward the users and community, and they will fuck with you. They'll love your product. It's very simple. It's just like some people are too greedy to give away to get more.
Yep. And for us, my background is affiliate marketing. I started doing affiliate marketing over 20 years ago, buying Google ads, literally I was, very early in buying Google ads. I regret not going balls to the wall in volume because I was too young to understand the amount of money. But I was an affiliate for a website called Commission Junction. If you Google it, you can see they were out maybe in the late 90s, but early 2000s for sure. I was an affiliate selling TV dish plans. So, I would basically have my affiliate link, buy Google ads, and people, when they clicked on a keyword on the Google ad on the right side of Google, they would land on one of my websites, and then they would buy, and I would get a commission. So that's how I made my first money online. So I'm still very well connected with major affiliates, and now it's become a whole industry. But at the time, it was, what Justin talks about, like his early days of like hacking and all that. My early days were just doing affiliate marketing in my parents' in my bedroom, my parents' house, and just making money, literally passive money, because you would put up
like
the affiliate link.
Wouldn't you say you were like
money.
an early adopter, or like what is it called, like first movers advantage, like at least like the first crowd of people that figured it out?
100% early adopter. My quote mistake is I was too young to really understand that this is a real business. So like if it's today, and I had my brain and my experience now, being in business for so long, I would have. Yeah, I know some guys who are making millions of dollars a day in commissions because they had multiple affiliate programs, multiple Google Ads accounts, multiple credit cards, and they maxed out and they made hundreds of millions of dollars for themselves. And they did it really at an industrial level. And that's, I was just too young to understand the volume out there, because the clicks were cheap. You would get clicks for a few cents. Now to get a click, if you're doing affiliate marketing for like insurance or travel insurance or, car insurance or any type of like weight loss, you're looking at, up to $20, $30, $50 a click sometimes. Whereas 20 years ago, you pay a few cents. So,
it's that when you have that first mover's advantage, you kind of just like, if you can identify it, you just kind of just have to like throw caution a little bit to the back and just like mash the gas. It's kind of what we're
And
doing
so,
here with JeetBot.
exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like this is the third time in 3 decades that I see this, and this is a once in a decade crypto
Yeah.
where it is now is a once in a decade opportunity. I saw it in the early 2000s. That's how I got online and started making money online. But I missed a huge kind of like, okay, let's make $200 million here.
Yeah.
When social media came out, because I'm pre-social media, there was no WhatsApp, there was no, I think Skype was the only tool that was kind of okay, but you couldn't even call people on Skype. That was the
Yeah.
only, I remember using MSN for those who are old enough to know, like the
I know.
MSN
I
chat
remember
room.
MSN.
And then early 2010s going really hard on social media because the reach was insane. If you had
Yeah.
like 10,000 fans, which you could buy, your
Yeah.
reach was 95% on those. So that was the new gold rush. And luckily, I really maxed out on that side. Did very well in Web 2. And now this is it in Web 3. The time is now. Like this is the
And that's what I
last
was saying.
cycle.
Like you bring like skills and the skill sets to the table that like me and Lucas we don't have. Like that's beyond me or before me really also, but like extremely like valuable. Like there's a lot of people that are going to get onboarded through like traditional Web 2 means, and no one's really like
Yep.
focusing on these things, and they account for a lot of people. Like the majority of people are not involved in crypto at all. They don't even know what Bitcoin is. Some people.
Yeah. I mean, and so likewise, right? So it's like for us, it's like we can build very well, we can operate teams. I mean, that's what I've done for 20 years now almost. But I'm not a trader. And I'm very, very honest and transparent about that. Yes, of course I can trade. I made good money in the last cycle trading, but I'm not a trend trader. What I am is I can interpret what you come up with and the idea you come up with, and we can build the tools to bring this kind of institutional grade trading technology to retail. That's what I'm
Yeah,
good at.
it needs it, to be honest with you, because like right now, I've been here for every cycle, and this is by far without even it's not even competition. This is the hardest cycle ever because there's more participants in the market. That means more crowded trades. That means there's also a lot more liquidity that these market makers and institutions and exchanges like to wipe out and essentially stuff in their pockets. And there's more scammers, which not even just like loan scammers. It's like organizations, like criminal organizations organized, just like sitting on pump fund, just like extracting like millions and millions of dollars. So even if you're really good, I know a lot of people that are just like getting destroyed. Uh, Even
Yep.
myself, I've taken a lot of hits this cycle, a lot. And like people like in Lucas's Telegram, like they track some of my wallets. So they see like I hold shit to zero, like literally. So that's why when I win big because the conviction factor. You're gonna make more money holding than you are like scalping or whatever. Just literally holding, and it's just there's more dilution. There's more tokens than ever. 4 million plus tokens. Like how many memes was there last cycle? Like 10.
Yep.
So you really have to know what you're doing, and even if you do, you're probably ill-equipped like with the software, the tools that only a handful of people are coveting. So like, just like the hacker mindset, freedom of information, like, giving these things to people to like help improve their lives. So like maybe they can make some money in crypto, change their life, instead of just changing a few people's lives that are just scamming everybody.
Yeah. And the truth is, building is very difficult. We talk about this. I literally got a DM this morning from Caius, so my partner at CoinRock, and we talk about how difficult it is to build in Web3 just because the mindset of Web3 builders is fucked. Like
It's
they
crazy.
don't it's insane. It's insane. Again, like I speak from experience, right? I hired my first dev 20 years ago in Web 1. Before social media, I taught myself how to code in HTML and PHP, reading a For Dummies books, like the black and yellow books. I went to
That's
the
some old
library.
school shit right there.
I was sorry.
I said that's some old school shit right there.
HTML on Microsoft, was it called Front Page, I believe, and like
I
in
don't even know.
Notepad, and literally looking at the book on the left side of my computer in my
Yeah.
parents' house, typing and then uploading to FTP, and like, oh, the word is bold. I know how to bold words now.
Yeah,
And
man,
so,
that's some old school shit right there.
and so I've gone through that. Web 1 building, Web 2 building, Web 3 is the most space to the toughest space to build in. It's very difficult to find good people. It's very difficult to find from the good people, people actually who are competent. Those two
Qualified.
filters, 90+% of the applicants are,
Yeah, this literally
we
why
discard.
like Lucas like put us together, because like he saw me, like I was like pulling my fucking hair out trying to like
Yeah.
hire devs. I was just like beating my head against the wall, just like, okay, the first two people I hired, they tried to hack me. They tried to hack. I gave them access to one of the virtual private servers. There's nothing on there, but I didn't give them a root login. I gave them like a normal. I made them a login, and then like they instantly start trying to brute force the root login. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm trying to pay y'all thousands of dollars. So, and then after that, it was just like a bunch of fake LARPs, like people with fake
Yep.
GitHubs that they had just like,
Yep.
downloaded miscellaneous GitHubs off the internet that you might not be able to find, but I know to look for that. And they're
Yep.
just like not real.
Yep.
It's like, it's insane.
There's thousands. I mean, so 99.9% of people who go into Telegram groups and say, "Hey, I'm a dev, I'm a Web3 dev, blah blah blah," just scams, 100%. We've never hired. We actually, no, I take that back. We tried to work with one of them. We tried to work. We didn't sign them. Tried to work with one of them. Very quickly I told guys, this is not how we build. And again, I'm very intense. We talked about being very aggressive. It's very difficult to work on any of my teams because I know what it takes to win in business, and it takes extreme levels of pushing hard and being aggressive.
Yeah.
And so all these guys, all the tricks they pull, I've seen it all before, right? All the, hey, let's hop on a Zoom,
Yeah.
let's have an interview, let's talk about something and how I can help your project. No, we've seen all the tricks in the book before you even thought of the trick you want to pull. So it's very difficult to build in Web3. You can't trust people. You have to be on every single day looking at everything.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting if you don't have, if you're not good enough. It's exhausting.
It's so strange. It's like because it's like the technicality, like the technical factor is like not that much higher for the differential between Web 2 and Web 3 to be like this. I think it's just like it's a weird
Yep,
thing, because
I
like I
agree.
try to tell some of my friends that are traditional Web 2 developers, they're extremely good at what they do, but there's still a large portion of the population, even smart tech savvy people, that don't take crypto serious at
Yep.
all. Like at all, bro. It's like he's like, oh, what am I going to quit my job and go work at some crypto? I'm like, yes, they'll pay you like 3 times more, and then you'll probably get like equity or like some tokens or something. You're not getting none of that at your other job. But like, yeah, trying to bridge that gap and bring more qualified people over here and builders. I love seeing that, because
Yep.
like you said, a lot of these people, even if they aren't scammers, they're like purposely building bullshit just to
Yes.
get funded. Like, oh, let me build another L2 that fixes nothing. Nothing. But they
There
raised
was a big launch.
$100 million.
Yeah. I posted this in one of the groups. Maybe maybe I retweeted it. Maybe you can find it. Big project. They raise about 20 plus million. There is no mobile. The website or the app is not mobile optimized. It's like, how? Like, how is this possible?
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of
So
these build a block website things automatically do that stuff.
yeah. So it's like, how bad are you if in 2025 you're not even mobile optimized after raising multiple 8 figures?
They're just
So
used to getting money handed to them and then like doing the bare minimum just to like make it legal,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we do things very differently. And also, you never know who is building these projects. For us, it's very different. You know, we're fully doxed. I mean, we're building real things with real people, and we want to bring real technology and wins to the market, to retail here. So, you know, I see the so yes, Crypto Triforce next week. Yes, in a few days. We're days away from opening the referral for JeetBot. You'll be able to, and the good thing is, because it's a 6-level down referral program, you could get someone in, and let's say you only get 5 people in, but they get 20. You actually get
Yeah.
commissions on everything they bring in,
It
right?
adds up
So
so fast.
yes. And it's literally passive income. Like, you do not do anything. Once you've done the initial effort of onboarding, of course, you're incentivized to push and get your referrals out. But you know, if you find people under you 2-3 levels deep who also are driven
Yeah.
and push the, you know, get the word out, you will literally be eating thanks to their work.
It's
So
crazy because like I really barely ever show like anything. And just like the few referral links that I've showed in the past like 3 years, it's just like I can't remember when I last shared them, and this like money is just like still coming in from them. Like literally, I'll go
oh
check one of
yeah,
my wallets and be like,
yeah,
"There's like 4 grand in here. Like, where did this come from?" It's like, oh,
yeah.
this referral stuff.
Yep, yep. So in the old days of affiliate marketing, it was usually just a 1 level deep affiliate program, right? So you literally have your link, you send it to someone, or someone clicks on an ad or an article or a blog, and if that person buys, you get a commission. But if someone under them buys, if they refer it, send your link to someone else, you don't get anything if they
Yeah.
send their own link. The good thing here is it's 6 levels deep, so you eat you know, 6 levels uh, throughout all the 6 levels. If someone else brings in literally 3-4 levels down, you actually make commissions on that too.
Yeah, and the
So
way that that works sometimes is like I've seen people that like, you know, they may like you know, share it, chill it a little bit, and like they get a little traction, but then like later, like a latent effect is like, well, later one guy he decides to share his link, and then all of a sudden he has like 100 more referrals
yep,
from like he's like, I haven't shared my link in like 2 months. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, because it's certain levels deep, and it's like
yep.
sometimes latent stuff like that.
So the guys, I could tell you this. So I had lunch the other day with someone extremely well connected, and like also very much a Bitcoin OG, and guys who are running big. So all the guys who were pushing affiliate marketing, affiliate exchanges in the previous cycle, so 2019 to 2022, they're still making ungodly amounts of money passive, just because the YouTube video is up. It's from 3 years ago,
It's
and
crazy.
the affiliate link is there, and they still make money. So the money literally never stops for them. As long as the exchange doesn't go down, that's the only risk factor. If the exchange, if they're promoting FTX, of course, there's no payout, right? But there's exchanges, Binance is still out.
Yeah.
So yes, you still actually make commissions years later. So, you know, making $500, 2,000, 5,000, $10,000 a month with like promoting JeetBot is realistic. You know,
And like
just by
the
showing your reference.
one thing I'm like really passionate about, but it's like it's very annoying because you can't even like even say it without like it being cliche, because it's been overused by scammers saying like, oh yeah, we actually want to like, you know, build, we actually want to like, you know, look out for our users. It's like most of the time that's bullshit, bro. Like actually, like I am one of y'all. Like I still am. It's not like I'm different. I'm just like building something, but I'm still like a normal person in crypto, still trying to make it. I'm just
And we're actually in the groups, right? We actually
yeah, like
respond in the
we're in
groups.
the trenches. Like I'm still in the trenches, bro. Like not maybe not as much, but like just like the other day, like popped on here, looked at some charts, got rugged real quick for like 2 or 3 soul, and then like I hit another trade. But like you're not gonna see a lot of these founders and builders just like at this like grassroots level. You know,
Yep.
I've waited a long time to like put my name on a project. I really like covet my reputation. I've really like curated that because another thing I learned in prison is like your word is everything. Your word's everything. As a man, if your word is no good, then you're no good. So like, you know, sticking to what you say, and in crypto promoting something, Well, if you want to have both of those things at the same time, that's very difficult because there's a lot
Yep.
of factors that you can't foresee. So I don't promote that much. But when I do, and I put this kind of fervor behind it, I think people kind of see like, I never see this guy shilling stuff. He's shilling the hell out of this. It's like, yeah, because it's like
And
we
it's
have some
real.
semblance of control.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're very excited. You know, as one of the founders of JeetBot, it's I have to almost undersell it and underhype it because there's always a bias of like, oh, well, of course you're showing it because you're the founder. It's like, no, it's actually a better product. It is a better product than 99% of other bots on the market. Like the product is actually better.
Dude,
So
we
you'll see a
created
lot
a
about that.
market order, like we
Yes.
created an order type. Like, I mean, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have a lot, you know, so if you guys want to stay in the loop, join the Telegram. If one of the mods here can put the link to the Telegram, the verification link in like on Twitter, that would be good. And then follow the account, the JeetBot AI Twitter account.
Yeah,
And
keep
let's talk.
notifications on because you never know
Yep.
when we might drop something.
Yep. Before we end this one, let's do another like 5-10 minutes about trading, like the market, right? So the state of the market. One last recap here. So follow Justin here. Follow me. Follow JeetBot. A lot of things coming up in the coming days, not even weeks, you know, days, because we've been working on this for months now. So I want to get Justin's opinion here about the market. So if you're panicking, you're seeing your bags drop while being in an uber bullish macro environment. Let's see what Justin thinks here, because one thing with Justin is he has a very good, and I've seen big names in the industry being skeptical of Justin's views at the time, and then 2 months later being like, oh, he was right. And so I want to hear from Justin here for everyone. What is your view on this cycle for crypto, for the Bitcoin price?
So this cycle, first off, is I classify it as a transitory cycle. So it's like never really happened before. And that just essentially means it's a transitionary period from how things were at one point until a new paradigm. And essentially in crypto, that is it being primarily retail controlled and focused and going away from that and going towards heavy institutional accumulation. And I think I even mentioned all this back like an interview I did with like Bazinga or whatever back in like November of 23, where the ETFs hadn't even been approved yet. And people were talking about ETFs priced in. You can't price in spot buying, bro, of unknown amounts. That doesn't even make sense. So
From the biggest
yeah,
financial players
10
in the
trillion,
world.
$11 trillion. And like, come on. It's honestly to the point now where like, it's kind of like I'm too bullish. Like I see all these people on the timelines, and it's just like it's like clockwork. It's like every time you see a couple days of red or whatever, or their illiquid memes are like getting shit on, so they think the market's over. It's like, no, bro, you just have shit. Like you bought poorly. Like you know, you're not supposed to hold memes like that for long periods of time. It's incredibly risky. But for this cycle, I think on January like 1st of like last New Year's, I gave like a price prediction and a time that was extremely aggressive at the time, which now doesn't sound as aggressive, but back then people said I was fucking insane for
What
saying
was the number? I remember the number.
$230,000 Bitcoin by October of 2025. And back then, I think Bitcoin was like 40K. And so the sentiment wasn't around, yeah, this guy's right. It's like, no, this guy's insane. And now, slowly but surely, you see that sentiment changing. And now Larry Fink was just literally shilling a price target of 700K Bitcoin. Maybe not this cycle, but like still, that lets you know like the numbers just keep going up. They just keep going up, and
And the buying keeps, like,
bro, the
they
buying
follow
is
through on the
vicious.
buying.
It's you know, and it's changing things. So this cycle is like it's new for me too. I'm trying to figure it out at the same time because I've never experienced. No one has experienced this. It's fucking crazy. And, you know, I don't think it's going to be the same ever again, you know, for sure. Like, but especially like even this cycle, I don't really know how the altcoin like season part of the bull run is going to play out. And if it will play out like traditional, maybe, or maybe it's just like select projects because there's more chains, there's more projects, there's so many more tokens, but there's only so much amount of money to go into these things. So you really have to be very picky. Very picky. Like you can scalp and stuff, but like if you want to maintain large positions and feel comfortable, very picky. I would primarily stick to like, you know, like Bitcoin just to have some exposure. Other L1s like, you know, Solana, maybe some Ethereum, some good Ethereum like beta plays. I stick to like a lot of like revenue generating projects because I look at it and evaluate it like a traditional stock analysis. They're making money. So unless they're retarded, they're going to put that money to use to make the project better, to get more users.
And they don't need to sell coins for the team and the project.
So that's why you look at Ray from Radium, the liquidity provider token. It's insane. Look at the chart because a portion of their fee from each transaction, which all the pump fund tokens migrate to Radium LPs. So every time there's a transaction, they get a little piece, and a portion of that goes back into buying their own tokens. It's like actually tokenomics do matter. Like a lot of people like think it's a boomerish thing, and it's like it's the fundamentals of how this operates. It's pretty
literally
important.
The fundamentals.
Yeah, it's like it's actually literally how I do and base a lot of my investing. So definitely tokenomics matter if you're, you know, investing for long term, and you know, don't spread yourself thin because that's a very common misconception that people have. It's like when you're building wealth, you have to have high allocations in concentrated wealth, and that's how you make wealth. And then to maintain it, you spread it out. But you're not going to make a lot of money spreading all your money out. But yeah, it's kind of like an obstacle course. This cycle feels like it's like who's going to make it to the end.
You know, it's funny. Someone was asking in the group, in the JeetBot group yesterday, when did I get into crypto? And so it's a question I get every now and then. I posted this yesterday in the group. You can go, have a look at this one. My first buy, this is a screenshot from a post that I posted on Facebook, December 7th, 2017. I bought in May in 2017, 40,000 euros, about at the time $55,000 worth of Bitcoin in May 2017. When the amount of coins was, I believe there were 400 or 500 coins in the 2017 cycle. The previous cycle, I think I remember looking at CoinMarketCap, seeing between 6,000 and 10,000 at peak amount of coins. And now, just to give everyone an idea, because we're building JeetBot, right, we have access to like the data on the Solana side and everything. We're looking at that. There's tens of thousands of new tokens every single day. Every single day. And so you need good tools, you need good technology to find the right ones, to take profit at the right time. I'll give you another example of a feature that we're adding probably next week in the in JeetBot. Whenever you snipe something, by the way, the sniper feature is open to everyone. You'll have access. I mean, you know, the beta users have access to it already. Whenever you snipe a token, you can set an automatic take profit when it 2x's, 3x's, etc. So you could literally snipe something in your sleep and, you know, have it take profit while you're still sleeping.
Essentially, like in my opinion, like the goal here from someone who's like you know, traded on more like centralized like exchanges and stuff, like primarily I do trade on DEX and stuff like that, but we're trying to bring that same customizable like experience to on chain, because the trading experience on chain has just been shit, dude. Like it's the same thing it's been
clunky
for a while.
Yes, it's very the UX sucks. It's confusing. The onboarding process is just bad, and
it doesn't have to be
the
like
execution is bad.
like it doesn't have to be like this. And I think that primarily one of the reasons that it's been like this, at least for previous cycles, or at least the previous cycle until now, since they've been around, is because it was so new and unpalatable that there wasn't enough liquidity, which basically meant that there was going to be like a lot of like slippage in your orders. There's going to be basically like maybe not enough liquidity for like whatever size. So like you can't just size in with $1 million sometimes on an LP. You just can't. It's not a centralized exchange. You know, so like there's all these little things that make trading on dexes, like the fees, all these things that they have to do because they're waiting for enough money to be there that it can like ease some of those not have to have such high fees, just all these things that is enough for people that trade with size to just stick with the centralized exchanges. You don't have like a lot of invariable orders where you can have OCO brackets, like he's saying. You put in an order and your take profit and stop loss is automatically put in all in one order. So you essentially just sit back and the trade's going to play out. Either it's going to stop out or it's going to take profit. And it's just adding these things in that just like eventually you won't even be able to tell that you're on a DEX or whatever.
And the great thing about being lean and running these teams is we can execute 100 times faster than all the quote bigger institutions. They can't. How can a company with thousands of employees, not to name them, how can they execute quickly, bring a product out within days or weeks? They can't. They have to go through all these layers of management and everything. And so the idea of running lean is like, that's one of the core focuses of CoinRock. We don't want to be bloated. I think, so I've been talking, I wrote several books about building businesses and how I build companies in the Web2 space and how I built my e-commerce businesses. It's very lean. And for years, there was this misconception, even in the mainstream media, right, or in entrepreneurial circles, where it's like they say, oh, you need to have a big team. You need to have big office space. You need to have all these managers. And I said, no, like, why do you need these people if they delay the end result? And I'm happy that Elon Musk now has been very vocal about stripping away the fat, cutting the fat. I've been saying this for 10, 15 years.
Being middle management and just
correct. Oops, I think Justin just dropped. Let's see if he can pop back in. So, coming back to what Elon has been doing over the last few years, and you see it now with Doge, right? The Department of Government Efficiency. I think it's amazing because he's showing the world that you can actually cut a lot of expenses. You can cut. Oh, Justin's back here. Let's add him to the stage. Are you good, Justin? Okay, he's all right. There you go. You're back. Now I was saying it's been. I remember, because I took a risk, quote, a risk to start building on the internet 20 years ago. Initially the first few years, the first reaction I had from friends, even very close friends, and now I get to make fun of them, was like, isn't the internet risky? What happens if the internet disappears? But this is like 2005, 2006, right? And it was almost like, I remember almost feeling uncomfortable when you had, quote, traditional business guys who run manufacturing saying like, what do you mean you don't have an office? What do you mean you don't have 50 employees? Like, you don't need them. You can be remote. Like this whole concept of like working remote, I've been building remote teams since 2007 full time. So thank God for Elon.
It's just like going the unconventional route because it's just like illogical.
It's
just
exactly,
like
it's logic, it's common sense.
It's like, I don't care what you said. That doesn't make sense to me. Every person needs to have a role and they need to have a justification and they need to have like a skill set that like adds value, or else what are you doing here?
Yep. And so, I don't agree with everything Elon does. I'm not an Elon fanboy, but I'm very happy that he is very outspoken about trimming the fat. You don't need thousands and tens of thousands of employees in a company. Look at the way Twitter works now. The pre-Elon and post-Elon, I think they cut 2,000-3,000 jobs at Twitter. It runs the same way. You don't need thousands of people running technology and SaaS businesses. I saw a tweet the other day, a SaaS company that does $25 million a year in revenue that netted about 200,000 total for the year. So wait, you do so less than 1% of the revenue was net income. That's a horrible business model.
That's not
And
good at all.
you can brag about, oh, we're employee centric and this and that's. Like, no, it is a shit business. If you do $25 million a year in revenue in technology, selling air ultimately, right? Selling software,
Yeah.
and you net less than 1%, your business is broken, my bro.
Yeah,
So
no,
you
it's
can do
just
much better.
one of those things where it's become like an industry like standard for so long that it's just like, oh, let's have a bunch of bloatware employees like on the, and then ironically, I don't know if it was what caused it. I would hope so. It's hilarious. Is that all those girls were making those like day in the life
Oh, dude,
videos of working at like
I
Facebook.
I hate that shit so much. I remember telling my wife, this was during COVID. Remember when all the companies went, all the like the old companies were going remote as if it was
Yeah,
a revolution. I'm like, we've been
yeah,
doing this for fucking 10, 15 years now. Anyway, day in the life. Oh yeah, I'm a senior product manager for XYZ company. This is what I do all day. And they're at the beach sending 3 emails, one
crazy.
Zoom call, and I'm like,
Yeah, you shouldn't be like
you do
telling on
realize,
yourself.
correct, you do realize you're the first to go after this whole e-commerce bubble pops. And I've seen the movie before. It was just extreme froth on the hiring side, and thank God. And then 6 months later, you would see these posts on LinkedIn. I'm so disappointed. I lost my job. It's like, yes, because you're not that you're a bad person, but the role was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You know.
Like low key, that's it just seems like everything's tying together with the fact that it's like it, they're getting more lean because of the opportunity being less sparse, like money being less widely available. The economy is not doing that great uh,
Yep.
underneath the surface of things for the average person. Maybe some people are doing really well, but the average person is like low key struggling. Like I've actually
Yep.
seen this myself recently, very surprisingly. I was at a gas station the other day, and there was two girls scrounging their cards together to buy a soda. I
Mm,
was like, oh my God, bro. I
yeah.
was sitting there with like 5 bags of chips. I was like, felt like an asshole. I was like, dude, people are not doing great out here.
Yep. Yep.
And crypto, like low key, is just like one of the last bastions of hope, of opportunity. But
Hope.
that's
That's it.
also
Yep.
like
Yep.
attracted a bunch of scammers. So like that's the problem that we're having to deal with now.
Yep. Yeah, so the way we run things is very lean, remote. If you bring value and you have talent, we can bring you on, and we have to move fast. We want to move fast, and so we have to move extremely forcefully, aggressively in this space, and our users benefit, like our communities benefit. So we can roll out a feature within 24 hours, where other if you work in a let's call it an old school trading firm, it would take you weeks to roll out a feature because
Yeah.
because the way the platform is built is so antiquated. You can't roll out features easily and
Yeah.
quickly.
You'd have to build
So
it. You have to have it like built with extensibility and stuff like that. So it's like
yeah,
easier to add stuff. Whereas like you have these old antiquated systems that it's like there's actually a lot of like infrastructure in the United States or in the world in general that's like very antiquated, and they're
from
just
the
like
90s,
they're
literally from
afraid
the
to touch
90s.
it. Like
Yeah,
people would probably not be happy to know that a lot of our nuclear facilities are ran on like floppy disks.
yep,
It could
yep,
be safer, could also not be safer.
yep. Yeah, so this was a great, almost a 3-hour show. Thank you,
Damn.
everyone, for joining. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah,
Any
for sure.
last, any closing statement here you want to share?
As always, I try to keep it like pretty upbeat and motivational. This really is, and I really like want people to like listen when I say this because I don't like say these things like haphazardly that like this last part of the cycle can change your life literally, and it can happen in like an instant. It only takes one trade. It only takes one trade. And it's usually going to happen when you least expect it, but you just kind of have to be there. And yeah, you might have to sacrifice some like personal things and like maybe some family get-togethers or whatever, but like you have to contemplate like really being financially secure for the rest of your life, your family's rest of their life, your kids. It's like, you know, it starts getting pretty serious. It's not just like a fun game anymore. It's like, oh, dude, this could change lives. Like, you
Yep.
know, so keep clicking, you know, follow us for sure, because we're going to try to change some lives too, as many as we can. So yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to this, and it's just it's good to finally have people like Matthias and, you know, and Caius that we could like build with and actually like try to change the industry.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Closing words from me. Thank you for joining. We're at 1,000, over 1,200 people on. Thank you, everyone. 3 hours. You know, I want to do these shows. Sometimes it'll be an hour, sometimes 2, 3 hours, sometimes more, because, you know, it's. I think it's important to share behind the scenes how things
Yes.
are going in the industry,
Yes.
and you know, if you got any value, if you enjoyed this episode, again, this was presented by CoinRock News. We're launching the media arm of CoinRock, so we're a venture builder firm, which is very rare in crypto. We incubate, we invest in what we build. We build everything in house, so we fully control what we do. JeetBot is a baby of all of us here, CoinRock. So myself, Justin, Lucas, and Caius. It's the four of us building this. So CoinRock, Justin, and Lucas. Uh, Join the JeetBot Telegram. Follow CoinRock Cap. We're launching the CoinRock Media platform in the coming days. It's looking really good. So that'll be literally a news website with dozens of articles a day. We're launching a new Twitter account with breaking news in crypto, and we want to get CoinRock. You know, we want to make CoinRock into turn it into one of the biggest players in crypto in the coming years. I said yesterday my timeline for CoinRock is literally the next 10 to 20 years. That's my time horizon in building, and you know, in building in Web3. We started a year ago, so we have a very long road. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this road. I think we can wrap it up. We'll put the replay here will be up in a few minutes, and this will also be clipped, and we'll have a bunch of articles because we have a full in-house team at CoinRock Media. So, you know, a lot of the points here that Justin shared, especially about the state of the market, we'll have those into articles in the coming week or so. And we're also going to do probably a like a special feature around Justin here with his story, and that'll be out probably in the next week or so too, maybe a couple weeks, because I want to do justice to the story, and I want CoinRock Media, like I said yesterday, actually last week when we announced it, to be really a, you know, an impartial source of news, not just for CoinRock projects. Of course, CoinRock projects will benefit from the CoinRock Media arm. It's common sense, but we want it to be really a top player in the media space in Web3, blockchain, and now also bridging
There's a huge
Web2.
deficit for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially like quality content, not just like, you
Yep.
know, like the LA vape cabal, like cringe videos that have no value at all. It's like people actually want to see what's going on, like in
Yep.
crypto. It's like it's not transparent really, even though it should be. And you know, the technology allows it. It's like the building is like a veil. You have no idea like what's going on back there. How the fuck are they
Yep.
building stuff? It's like,
Yep.
no, we'll show you. Like actually, you know, keep your
That's the
eyes out.
goal of
Yes,
all these
we have a
shows.
bunch of content coming, and we
Yep.
just want to show people what it's like, and also that it's like it's possible that they can also too as well build, but it's not going to be easy. It's gonna be hard, but you can do
Yep.
it. And yeah, you know, just keep your eye out for Matthias. Like I haven't seen anyone come in with like this much you know, like fervor and enthusiasm, and it's like it's
Thank you.
aggressive. He's building aggressively.
Yeah. It's the only way to win, guys. It's the only win. At least it's the only way I know how to win, is to go balls to the wall aggressive. It's the
Yeah,
only way to actually have an impact on the market.
that's what you have to do.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. And we'll catch you on Twitter, and make sure you follow all the accounts here. Justin And thanks for joining. We'll do the next shows will be next week. We'll try to do a live. We'll try to do a live every day, whether it's with a guest or under CoinRock with market updates. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you got value from this episode, you're going to love what's coming next. So subscribe now. We drop new episodes and videos several times a week featuring power players, market movers, and insiders from the financial world. And if you want access to deals and insights we only share privately, hit the links in the description and we'll see you on the next show.